lights are out, you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Racing for Stacy 350 on the eSports Broadcasting Network. We're here tonight to offer our prayers, support, and love to Stacy and Brian Tarnowski. Stacy Tarnowski had previously been diagnosed with breast cancer. Then, 3 short years ago, Stacy was given the all clear. Now we fast forward to December 2021 when Brian and Stacy got the news that no one ever wants to hear. The cancer had returned. After these past few months of updates from Brian, the SNN Family of Racing series realized the need of our brother and have acted doing the only thing we know how to do, race. We thank you all in advance for tuning in and donating to help our brother and sister during the hardest time of their lives. If you're able to, please feel free to donate by following the PayPal link in the YouTube and Facebook live video feeds, or via Venmo to @Robert-Nestor-1, who has been spearheading this campaign. Looking at tonight's race, I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, joined by my partners in crime for the evening, Tanner Noel and Mike Damani. We're going to be seeing these next-gen Cup cars turning a total of 225 laps for a total of just under 350 miles. There will be stage breaks tonight at laps 75 and 150, and then a final 75-lap run to the checkered flag. Tanner, thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are you, bud?
I'm doing excellent there, Dave. Thank you so much for having me in, and I'd like to introduce our third man tonight, Mike Damani. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can't wait to get these cars on the track and do all this for a good cause.
That is exactly right. We are here for one thing and one thing only, and like you said, Dave, that's to support. So here at virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight, we've got a 1.5 mile track. We've got 85 degrees, 72% humidity, partly cloudy with a little bit of gust here, 7 miles an hour. Dave, that's going to affect these next gen.
Oh, they absolutely will. These next gens are lighter but more powerful, and we were talking during our broadcast meeting about, that extra power since the latest iRacing update has really caused these cars to kind of react a little bit like the Xfinity cars. Don't you think so, Mike?
Definitely. It's definitely changed the way these cars usually drive. I mean, before you could just hold your foot to the floor and go for all you got, but now you kind of have to drive them a little different.
Yeah, and tonight as we look around the field here, at least as far as qualifying goes, it seems like the new car has a few things different time-wise. Looks like Josh Ward has laid himself down a 31.01 so far, and Alex Murray sits at P2 right now with 31.03, so they are extremely close so far.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing is Joe Stafford all the way down in ninth place. He was a strong head front here, top 5 in practice, normally out front. He's ninth position here qualifying, Dave. So switching up the boards here with the next gen.
Oh, I agree. And it looks like here they've got a 10-minute warm-up session, but I believe that's just for if they were running the heats, but they actually got in under the number of people that they would have needed in the event of heats. So we're starting to see guys grid here. Maybe not necessarily grid, but get themselves a couple more laps for practice. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely looks like what they're doing. They had this set up hoping for quite a few drivers. We still wound up almost with 30 on the grid, so pretty great turnout for their Tarnowski family, and see what we can do for them.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of laps around and near Brian, and he's just an awesome guy all the way around. Always fun to race with, and everybody makes mistakes. I've made them, and Brian and I were just joking around, and I said he should probably have a pretty good race because I'm not going to be anywhere near him on the track tonight.
Yeah, no, as we're actually taking a look at him here, Dave, let's zoom in on that beautiful paint scheme. If I recall, it was it was dedicated just for his wife. Yes, there it is. Beautiful number 5 machine here. 55, that is.
Yes, the pride of Waukesha, Wisconsin is out there turning laps and supporting his wife, who we know is watching tonight, Stacy. If you're watching, know that we love you and we're praying for you and that we support you in everything that you do, that we love your husband because he is absolutely a Class A guy.
And even bringing out the pink wheels here for the support and the awareness. So, very well supportive paint scheme and husband, that is. I'd like to remark on that. I've talked to several people in this community and they say Brian is with her step by step. So Brian, that is a very great job of you there.
Oh, Brian's got a void right in front of him. That was close. What do you don't you think? Thank goodness it's only practice.
Yeah, that was a little Code Brown situation there. He's going to go get a new fire suit here, going down pit road.
First Code Brown of the night, and the green flag hasn't even flown yet, as Brian's going to take himself some time here in the grass. One of the drivers that I want to highlight tonight is Raymond Root, who's the pride of Gloucester, Virginia, in the number 8 paint scheme, but the number 2 Ford. Raymond Root just seems to have the number of almost every racetrack he visits. If he's not up front, he's in the back charging toward the front. This is a guy who, not to invoke Chris Collingsworth or anyone, but here's a guy who knows this racetrack inside and out.
And I'm already digging his paint scheme, and I think it'll look even better in the front here, where he's going to put it in the later half of this race there, Dave. But one thing I'm noticing is he's trying out a few different lanes. He was a little off the line in 3 and 4, and now he's on the very bottom of 1 and 2. So maybe a different line for the preferred line.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it. I mean, he just ran right there. His last lap was a 31.05, so getting closer to that pole time we saw earlier.
Alrighty, Mike, as right here I'm looking at the board still. Alex Murray he ran a 30.9 here, and in qualifying it looks like he ran a 31 flat. So a little faster here in the warm-up, possibly a draft, or the track is just rubbering in.
Yeah, it could definitely be that. I mean, they had their qualifying, and now they're definitely putting some rubber down on that track.
And the more and more we go into this race here, after the 2 stages at the very end, that's going to be when the car handles best, or when it should handle best with all that rubber. And these first few laps here, I think as soon as the green flag drops in less than about 5 minutes, that it is going to be a little sketchy. As we see the 24 hit the wall of Nicholas Breidenbach here in warm-ups. As I was talking about sketchy, broke loose off of turn 2.
Yeah, definitely have to watch that, as you see several cars doing the exact same thing coming off 2 there.
One of the people that we always try to watch here is Nicholas Breidenbach. He is never really kept down long from Orlando, Florida, in the number 24 Chevrolet. He is someone who, night after night, we'll see him probably battling pretty tightly with Raymond Root, or RJ as he's friendly known. Somebody else to keep an eye on tonight is the great Joe Stafford, the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, driving the number 13 Propel car. Joe Stafford is somebody who tweaks that setup, and we can see that he's running both sides of the track as well, top and bottom. He's trying to feel it out, with these last few minutes before we go pacing. Also, someone else to keep an eye on is Jad Khalif tonight. He's new to SNN and that family of racing, driving the number 12 Doritos car. Jad Khalif actually was in a recruitment race that I watched for the MNN Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And talk about a tough driver. He was not being kept down in that race, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight here. Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looks like all these guys are out there running these beautiful paint schemes in support of Stacy there. And I definitely think we're going to see some good racing, good side-by-side racing, and look forward to it.
Yeah, did you see Austin Story getting loose there in turn 2? Go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead. You were going right where I was.
I was just about to say that these next-gen cars are looking mighty, mighty out of control in turn 2 and turn 4 exits. So, going to be sketchy with cold tires especially, and even towards the end whenever they're running side-by-side with the 670 horsepower. Going to be interesting to see if they can hold their line.
Yeah, this latest update from iRacing sure has changed the attitude of these next-gen cars. At first, it was like you could hold them wide open and you had to draft in order to get any kind of speed, and now they've really become very, very unique in each and individual racetrack. As we're watching the 93 Ford machine of William Fink coming off a pit road to make his couple of warm-up laps here with 1 minute and 45 seconds left in warm-up. We take it pretty serious when it comes to iRacing updates, don't you think, guys?
That is correct. And one thing I've noticed with these next-gen cars, Dave, just a heads up before I forget, is that once these cars get loose, this rack and pinion steering is so sensitive and has a little bit of a delay that if they get sideways and turn right, they're more than likely going to catch that outside wall. So something to look forward to this race.
Yeah, the rack and pinion steering is definitely new this season in the next-gen cars. It's changed a lot of the setups, and the independent suspension has also been a major factor in changing these setups and getting these cars set every week. As well as, and we'll take a look here, if I can pull up the chase camera here. We can see here on the lower side of William Fink's car that diffuser that's coming off the back. It actually wants to be a little bit higher off the ground than the old cars, which we of course all tried to get stuck to the asphalt as best we could.
Yeah, that diffuser is there basically to clean up that air going under the car, get rid of the dirty air effect that those Gen 6 cars had, so that you have a little bit more pack racing. But they're just trying all they can, all these engineers, to clean up these cars and provide the best racing. And so far, I think they've done that. Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see that now with this new update. It definitely changed the way, as you see right there. He hit the brakes just a little bit to slow down, and around he went. So definitely have to get used to this new update and how they control the cars.
Oh, absolutely. The control of the car is so different compared to what it used to be. As it looks like we're getting ready to grid for the beginning of this race. Controlling of the car, like I said, before the update the other week, it seemed very stable, it seemed very comfortable, and almost anybody could drive it. My 4-year-old could have driven it. And now it has gotten to an absolute fever pitch, just as far as getting things set and hanging on to that thing, especially on intermediate tracks specifically. I know at the Coliseum, it kind of felt... So when I raced the Coliseum the other night, I actually used a Martinsville setup in an Xfinity car, and it was so different on a short track. And then in the Cup Series, trying again to use a Martinsville setup, it almost slammed the bumper down onto the asphalt. So it was a lot tighter on a short track, but intermediate tracks, they handle a little bit like a super speedway and a little bit like, intermediate. I'm sorry. We're going to take a look here again at Brian Tarnowski from Waukesha, Wisconsin. We're here to give our love and support to he and his wife Stacy, who is at home battling cancer for the second time And Stacy, we're thinking of you and we're praying for you. And we love your husband. And he is out here supporting you and beating your drum. As we get ready to roll off here, let's take a look at that starting grid. We have Austin Story on P1. Alex Murray is P2 in the number 21 Chevrolet. J.C. Gibson in the number 9 Toyota in third. Nicholas Breidenbach on the outside in the number 24 Chevrolet, his traditional car. Raymond Root is in fifth, starting in the number 2 Ford. Kevin Roark in the number 99 Chevy. Josh Cole in the number 27, starting 7th. Joe Stafford, the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the number 57 Chevrolet. Benjamin Harp, a man that I can call my friend, from Syracuse, New York, in the number 28 Ford Machine. Barrett Coffey, the commissioner of Tuesday Night Trucks. Tanner, you want to continue with Ryan Samuelson?
Yeah, so we have Ryan Samuelson in 12th in the number 3 Chevrolet. P13 William Finken at 93 Mustang. 14th is Zach Osborne in the 30 Toyota. 15th is the 29 of Bob Nestor. 16th, 55 of Brian Tarnowski in that beautiful supportive paint scheme. We've got 17th, Randy Spivey in that number 22. We have 18th, number 13, Steve Dardaris. 19th, Chris Claude. 20, Jeff O'Rourke. Mike, take it away.
Steve Cornez after that, and then we got sorry about that. They're lining up for their 4-wide salute, and
This
their
is the
3-wide
four-wide
salute here. Yeah.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, that field looks absolutely beautiful in its pinks and its blues. And we see Brian pulled down in the infield as he's going to come around and probably lead this pack at some point. Where's Brian go? Brian's going to go 4 wide here and take the apron for his wife.
Yeah, really beautiful salute here. I'm seeing a bunch of pink for the awareness here. I really love that from this group of drivers.
Well, as the field gets itself reset and ready to rock and roll here, we just want to remind you folks at home that, again, if you're able, your donations are absolutely accepted. There is, in the YouTube and Facebook page feeds, a PayPal link if you would like to donate to Brian and Stacy Tarnowski to help them get through this time and make things a little bit easier, as this is the toughest battle of their lives. And also, if PayPal isn't an option for you and you prefer Venmo, you can Venmo at Robert-Nestor-1 on Venmo. He is the commissioner of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series here with the SNN family of race series. And family is definitely key here with this group of guys, as they are going to come around one more time under caution. We should see those lights turn out on the pace car, and everybody should be close to being in line, because if they're not, they're running out of time. Mike?
Yeah, it definitely looks like everybody's getting ready to go racing again. And as you said, you know, this is all about family and all about giving back to the community. Our very own James Riles has decided to donate a minimum of $75 for $1 for every lap of the most laps led for that driver. So, good for him.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Barrett Coffey. He's the commissioner of the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series, and when I was talking about James's commitment, he goes, "So how many laps I got to lead?" I said 76, buddy. Get it done. And I believe Barrett Coffey can pull that one right off. So we see the pace car lights are out. Looks like Austin Story and Alex Murray are sniffing its exhaust pipe. We're going to see that car dive off. The man in the stand has his hand on the green flag. And we are underway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, side-by-side action here going into turn 2. Murray and Story not giving an inch to each other. They are dead even here coming out of turn 2. Actually, Austin Story is going to take the advantage on the outside. Looks like... Sorry, just a second. Technical malfunction there. Take it away, Mike.
Looks like Alex Murray got to the lead there. Austin Story dropped in behind him. Try and get this single file down here. Oh, into the wall.
Oh, and our first caution of the night before lap 1 is even complete. Looks like Chris Gore was involved in it. And once everybody gets settled down, we'll take a look and see what happened. As the pace car makes its way out onto the race surface, let's take a look back here and see what happened. Looks like Gore just kind of gets himself loose. Let's rewind it just a little bit further. We see Gore here in the top line in that 9 car of adrenaline shock, and he just rubs the wall and shoots back down almost like a pinball. And we'll see if he can get himself down. One of the things with these next-gen cars is that we were talking earlier amongst ourselves, and the damage model in these is incredible. You know, what looks like wouldn't be a bad hit all of a sudden gives you that meatball flag and you're in for some required repair.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's kind of a iRacing thing. I mean, they really can't do anything with as little as IRL data that they have on these cars. But sorry about that. Going into turn 1 and out of turn 2, I had a dog actually unplug my monitor. So we're back now.
I mean, 20 years ago it would have been the dog ate my homework or took my read sheet, but unplugging one's monitor is totally acceptable in the 21st century.
He stepped right on it, and here we are. So I apologize about that. But we actually have takers down pit road. The top 6 went down pit road. Is SDK?
No, that's
there
accurate.
it is.
What do you see down there, Mike?
Yeah, it looks like quite a few cars had damage in that last crash because the cars just kind of stayed up there along the wall there. So these guys here all had a little bit of damage. So
yeah, the 111 of Zachary Vaughn was also wrapped up in that incident. I'm trying to see if there's a clip nearby of it, and of course there's not. But Zachary Vaughn had gotten kind of clipped during that wreck, so we'll see everybody come out and we'll get reset. Folks, if you're just tuning in, we're on lap 6 of 225 in the first stage of the Racing for Stacy 350. We are here tonight to raise support and awareness of cancer and the damage that it can do to a family and the hardship that it can bring. We are here to support and love Stacy Tarnowski, the wife of the driver of the number 55 Chevrolet, Brian Tarnowski, who is at home right now battling cancer. And we know that she's a fighter. Brian has sung her praises for the last couple of years. And we are here to celebrate her. Keep in mind that there is a PayPal link in the YouTube and Facebook live feeds. And if you're able to, I know they and everybody else would really appreciate the assistance as we are under the green flag again here as Alex Murray jumps himself out to a nice lead here in the number 28 over top of Nicholas Breidenbach and Austin Story, who are in hot pursuit.
Yeah, they are under attack by Raymond Root on the inside here. He jumped from the, I want to say, second or third row back, and now he's fighting for that fourth position up under Austin Story.
Yeah, just like you said, Dave, earlier, Raymond Root's one of the guys to watch on this track. So he might not have qualified where he wanted to, but he's definitely moving towards the front now.
Well, and RJ is definitely one of those guys who will not give up easy, and once he gets himself in a groove, he's real dangerous because he's just sitting there lurking as we tick off the laps. And I realize that we are in the early goings of this race as there are some cars coming back up off of pit road onto the racing surface. Austin is someone who will lurk, and he will sit, and he will wait until the perfect moment to pounce.
Yeah, and one thing I'm taking note of right now, Nicholas Breidenbach is kind of cleaning up the marbles on that top lane, maybe preparing it for a later move in the race, but he's holding his own up there. Hasn't got past yet, but Austin Story is working on that inside.
Yeah, did you see Raymond Root jump up there too? Looks like they're trying to figure out if that's going to be the spot to be later or not. Trying to get these tires warmed up and race ready as Raymond Root drops down to the inside.
And we see the attempt here by the 8 car to try to get around the 24 of Nicholas Breidenbach. And Breidenbach's holding on to that top lane. It's almost like he gets a pretty good run off of turn 2. As we saw just behind them, Ben Harp getting himself a little loose coming off of turn 2. As you guys had mentioned earlier, that it seems like everybody seems to have a little bit of trouble on exit of 2 and 4.
Yeah, that's correct. 2 and 4 being a monster tonight. As we take a look at Steve Dardaris in that 13 machine, as we actually have a blinker here in second place. Nicholas Breidenbach out of turn 2, blinks onto the back straightaway. He appears into turn 3 we go.
Yeah, and looking back through the field here at Josh Cullen, number 27, he will not be held back at all, it appears. And we're just kind of bouncing back and forth between these drivers here. Camera's getting a little wonky. Let's see if we can't just get that boy to hold still here as we look onto the exit of turn 2 and onto the backstretch. Oh, that was close, don't you think?
Looks like a little bit of netco damage on the right front of that 8 machine. Nicholas Breidenbach side drafting aggressively as Raymond Root had the run on the inside out of turn 2 as we were side by side at the start finish line. RJ falls back 1 position there. We have a yellow flag in the air. Lap 11, yellow flag.
Yes, and it looks like Jeff O'Rourke had himself a little bit of an issue here. Let's take a look and see what happened. We can see O'Rourke was just trying to avoid a slower car and just came up a little too high there and couldn't keep it straight going into turn 3, huh?
Yeah, it looks like the lap car kind of changed lanes there at the last minute as he was coming by.
Yeah, it looks like that lap car lost lost his traction and was sliding all over the place and went up into the race surface, and O'Rourke just tried to avoid him and wound up getting hit.
And remember, there is no fast repair, so that could be his race.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we're only on lap 12 of 225, but on these cars, if you get a little bit of damage, you could be sitting there for quite a while.
Absolutely, and I mean, you know, it seems a little early to be trying to throw blocks and be aggressive, but here we go, and it seems like there's going to be a small parade coming down pit lane. Looks like 1, 2, 3 cars down there, 4, 5. Tarnowski is in. As we see better than 10 cars coming down for pit road service. And at this stage in the race, it's probably more of a let's make a couple of adjustments to keep ourselves fresh. I don't think we'll see too many guys taking tires. Maybe
Yeah, we've
just
only
making
got
some
four
adjustments.
additional. We've only got 4 additional sets of tires, so just keeping that in mind here. Only 12 laps into it, Dave.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty early. I realize that there's 75 lap stages, but if you take that 225 and divide it by 4 or 5 in this case, you're really only going about 45 or 55 laps. I would say that pit window is not going to open until lap 40.
Yeah, definitely, especially with only 4 additional sets of tires. You want to have more fresh tires for the latter part of this race. So looks like most of the people that came in might be trying to get some extra damage repaired from that first caution we had too.
And I want to take a look at our hardest charger so far is back in 13th place. Andrew Layton in that 84 Camaro there. Up 15 positions from where he first started in this race.
Yeah, Layton in the number 84 Chevrolet is from Huntington Beach, California. And he is actually a transplant from the Moonshiners Racing League, which races on Wednesday nights. And I had a chance to be side-by-side with him for about 10 weeks during the regular NASCAR off-season. And he is a competitive guy, but he's patient. And I think he's going to ride around here and maintain his position.
As the pace car lights are off here, coming to lap 15, we'll go green around lap 16. Side by side, we're going to re-rack them and go racing here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Austin's story. He hit pit lane on this last caution here, but he's going to restart back in position 14 after running towards the front.
Just you watch. Austin Story won't be back there in 14th for very long. He's going to start coming charging through the field.
Yeah, he is the first car with that pitted on lap 12, so he's the first out of those. But it looks like the top 11 have not pitted yet at all, so something to keep in mind here.
Someone else to absolutely not discount here is Bob Nestor from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, in the number 29 Toyota. He is someone who is patient and who can hold his line. You won't see him get loose very often. In fact, the running joke has always been that Bob doesn't cause it. Somebody else usually does, and he's not wrong, as we are back under green at Atlanta with Alex Murray jumping out to a healthy lead over Raymond Root. And as he goes down into turns 1 and 2, we're going to take a look here at that gap between he and Raymond Root. He's opened up a 4/10 of a second distance between him. And then, of course, between Raymond and Josh Cole, he's got 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, a really good launch by the 21, followed by the Mustang of Raymond Root here, the 8 or the 2, however you want to refer to him here. But into turn 1 we go. Raymond Root has closed that gap by about a car length, still about 3/10 back.
Just looking back through the field, it's interesting to see that, it seems like there's a little bit of pandemonium back here midway through the pack. Caution hasn't come out, as we are still under green here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Looks like they were able to keep it straight through that chaos, but we had a few victims there that had to slow down because of the spinning traffic, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be touching the brakes or anything. You just want to let off and kind of coast and hope you can make it through. Because if you touch those brakes, we've seen how touchy those cars can be. So definitely. Oh, what?
One into the wall, and he is going to.
One.
Looks like he is going to stay put as best as he can right now. That's Seba Cornez, who is a pretty highly skilled driver in the Costco Toyota, and he's going to bring it down probably to pit road to get some service and get that repaired.
They got a crinkled up right side as well as a mangled up left rear here, so he's been in a little contact. Right side's probably from hit the wall, and the left side's where he got ran into there on the back stretch, but he's getting passed by the 93 machine of Michael Overstreet.
Yeah, definitely. Once you hit
30 was. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
I was gonna say, it looks like he's got it figured out and starting to pass the 30 here, but looks like he's starting to slow down. Of Zach Osborne there.
Just checking in with our leaders again. It definitely seems like Alex Murray has himself a nice, healthy lead yet, but Raymond Root is slowly closing that gap. Remember, it started with about 4/10 of a second between Raymond and Alex, and now we're down to 2/10 of a second as Raymond is just lurking like a shark.
Yeah, Raymond's waiting on that right chance. He's probably saving a little bit of tire here. Pushing it, but at the same time being conservative. He may ride around right here. As we have a caution, I heard it back in turn 1.
Yep, and that caution seems to be brought out by Kevin Roark. And we'll see what's going on with him as he is down in the grass. We see Kevin Roark just eating the wall and spinning like a top. Thank goodness he didn't hit anybody else on his way through.
Yeah, really class act of holding the brakes there. You can see his skid marks. He locked them down as soon as he raced. Very respectful. He knew he was wrecking, so he didn't want to ruin anybody else's day, so he locked them down. Nice job. So we're working lap 20.
Okay.
Bye, Brian.
Bye, buddy. He should have done like the dude. Some more repairs done. We also have, maybe somebody's thinking tires if they were sliding around a little too much. But definitely one of those things that you have to be thinking about because you don't have any fast repairs. It's a lot easier to get some of that taken care of under a caution than under the race conditions.
Hey, Brian, it's Dave Regal up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Hey, man, just wanted to check in and let you know that we are praying for you and Stacy, and we are absolutely privileged to be here tonight with you. How is she feeling?
She's doing okay today. It's been a rough week, especially with the decision that she decided to make. So, she's up in bed. I don't know if she's napping or listening. She fades in and out. But yeah, we go day by day. That's our main thing right now. So,
taking it one day at a time is the only way that you can get through this. And we know that things are really tough for you, and because nobody can be expected to be ready to handle situations like this. So we're just glad to be able to be your family and to be your support in anything that you need.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate it, man. When you sent me that message, I sent it over to Stacy right away, and she right away was very grateful, and just to even get the word out of everything going on.
Look, I was telling the guys earlier about some of our conversation pre-race, and I said, you've got a pretty good chance here as you're moving up into 13th now. Without me on the racetrack, it seems like you probably got a pretty decent chance to stay clean tonight.
I haven't found the 10 yet, so we'll get to him later. But
Well, Chris is way back there in 18th. I think you're safe.
yeah, we're good. But no, at the last caution I came in and I tightened the rear end up a little bit, so that's been helping. But yeah, I'm just taking it easy, trying to keep her as clean as possible for as long as possible. Anyway.
All right, man. Well, listen, be easy and know that we love you, we support you, and anything you need, don't hesitate. We're here for you. I'm going to drop you back up there to your team.
All right, perfect, man. Thanks, and like I said, we appreciate it. It's unbelievable, man.
That's what family's all about. Take it easy, brother.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was your 55 machine here, showing as the number 5 in this paint scheme. Racing for Stacy. Beautiful paint scheme. Brian Tarnowski there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good to hear that she's doing okay and he's doing okay, and with all the family love and support and prayers that we can give them. But also, this race is also about any financial help we can give them as well. I mean, the PayPal link is in the YouTube channel and Facebook page. Whatever your heart desires to give, just remember, it's for a good cause.
It really is. And, you know, I was moved to emotion when James had said that you guys were going to be here with me tonight. You know, especially at the courtesy of ESPN and being able to use their feed instead of my regular tiny feed. So it's just an outpouring of generosity from our community, and iRacing is definitely quite a community, quite a family atmosphere, and I'm just privileged.
We
to
have
be here with you
carnage
guys.
on the backstretch. Sorry for that. I did not mean to cut you off there. We actually had a lot of wrecking in the back here as we were about to go green.
Let's take a look here and see what happened. Looks like the 28 of Nicholas Burlow was involved, or the 16 of Nicholas Burlow was involved.
Yeah, looks like it's saying Bob Nestor was involved. Ryan Samuelson.
I'm just going to run this back here and see if we can't figure out what happened.
Maybe a case of somebody running into somebody under caution and not being enough room cause a stack up. As Ben Harp actually gets sideways.
It almost looked like Ben must have had some kind of a hardware malfunction because his car just made a hard right into the out of absolutely nowhere. Let's take a look at this one more time. Yeah, Ben had to have had some kind of a hardware malfunction.
Is there any way we can get an in-car view there? Maybe a possible downshift? I'm not saying that that's what happened. It could be a malfunction, but sometimes if you downshift like that, hold the clutch in, go from fourth to first under that much RPM, it could spin out just like that.
We'll try to get a hold of that before we get pace car's lights are out, so we are about to go green here. As the pace car dives off into into the pit lane, and the green flag is in the air. We're underway again on lap 27. We're just about a third of the way through the first stage here, as yet again Alex Murray pulling away, getting that excellent jump on the restart.
Yeah, Alex Murray jumps out to the lead, followed by Raymond Root, and shortly behind Raymond is the 63 of Dale Lekes. Looking on the inside, we've got a battle here for third.
Well, and this battle for third is definitely heating up, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, we definitely have the closest battle we've had up front for a little while is Alex Murray and Root just seemed to. Whoa, looks like who's that they got loose?
That is the 27 of Josh Cole out of turn 2 onto the backstretch there, losing his control.
And we see these front three cars just going at it. And they're like a pack of wild animals right now, just, keeping within, my goodness, a tenth of all three of one another. Raymond Root's got 0.15 seconds ahead of him, and 0.15 behind. They're almost completely evenly spaced. But keep in mind that as Raymond's trying to hold off Dale Lucas, that's going to give Alex Murray a chance to run away from him a little bit.
Yeah, as a caution is out, looks like Austin Story, Ryan Samuelson, Brian Tarnowski, all involved. That is not good at all. Lap 30, there is a caution. Possibly happened coming out of turn 4, I think.
We see Tarnowski here on the outside over top of Ben Harp, and Ben just seems to come right up over toward him.
It semi looked like Brian got a little loose on entry into turn 3. That was a kind of hard angle to look at, but it looked like he got a loose on the top side of turn 3 here.
Yeah, it looks like he came up pretty quick on the back of the 28 there and popped to the outside, and then he just couldn't hold it.
Yeah, definitely the rear end of that car. I'm going to see if I can't get a better view here. As we see Tarnowski come in, and yeah, you guys are absolutely right. Tarnowski gets a little loose and comes down in front of Ben and just takes the outside wall right to the face. And that'll definitely be a meatball flag for him.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. Brian Tarnowski was doing good, running inside the top 15. Just got a little snappy there with the next gen car like they're known to do, and unfortunate turn of events here.
Definitely, but it gives everybody a chance to hit pit road and get repairs or tires if they need, as we're lap 31 here.
And I'm thinking that Alex and Raymond right here are going to set the pace for the rest of the field. Whichever one stays out is probably going to create the most drama here. We're going to see if they both go down or whether one stays out or they both stay out.
Yeah, game of chicken as always.
That is correct. It's more like follow the leader here, as everybody is going to stay out behind Alex Murray and Raymond Root. Looks like our first takers on pit road start with Bob Nestor in 20th, all the way down to 28th. So the back half of your top 20, so from 21st back, went down pit road there. Everybody else stayed out, so we're going to remain the same as we're taking a look at that busted up number 29 Toyota machine of Bob Nestor.
Yeah, Bob definitely can't be happy with that kind of performance. It almost looks like he's got a shortened modified. And one thing with Bob is that he won't be kept down, and he'll stay out there and he'll get his laps in. He's definitely Mr. Consistency as far as that's concerned. Speaking of Mr. Consistency, I wanted to check in here with Chris Claude in the number 10 Toyota, sponsored by Dasani Water. He had a nice paint scheme at the beginning of this race, and it looks like he's gotten himself a little wrapped up here.
Yeah, when you're running towards the middle of the back there, with the way these cars have been running, seems like he's probably got just a little bit of damage on there.
When I say Mr. Consistency and Chris Claude are one and the same person, he has, if there's one thing that I've noticed, he is always patient and he is always hanging out right in the middle. And I would say as long as he stays where he is, he's going to wind up with a top 10 position here toward the end of the race. That seems to be about what happens with Chris.
We've got a huge checkup on the front stretch right here as they catch the pace car. But you're correct, Chris Claude's always consistent here, and if he can get that damage fixed as much as possible and stay in this pack, I think he'll have a great shot at the top 10. Is this 63 machine of Dale Lekis is going to be on the second row here? He had a really good second lap on the restart of that last caution, or after that last caution, excuse me. So I'm going to be looking for him right here, following Alex Murray on that inside line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our top three cars are pretty much the only cars that haven't hit pit road yet. So they must have been able to. They're probably the 3 cars that have stayed the cleanest too. So.
Well, and Raymond Root is a Zen master when it comes to tire saving. He will ride that top line, which of course puts less stress on those right sides, and he will stay up there as long as he possibly can. And I'd be willing to bet that we're going to see him get way past our normal pit window. He'll probably have to come in only when it's time for fuel.
Yes, we are going green here. Alex Murray takes off. Dale Leckis on the inside of Raymond Root. Raymond Root on the outside here. Going to clear himself into turn 1, followed by Josh Ward in that number 15 machine. But excellent jump again by Alex Murray. If there's one thing that he's consistent with tonight, it's getting out front on these restarts.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time again. He gets, quarter of a second, half a second lead, and Raymond Root has to come and get him. So.
And after that last caution, it appears that Austin Story is down in the pits along with Benjamin Harp and Brian Tarnowski. And we do just want to remind everybody that we are here, speaking of Brian Tarnowski, for him and his wife Stacy, who is watching the race at home tonight. She is battling cancer. And we want to remind you that there is a PayPal link in the YouTube and Facebook live feeds, as well as if you use Venmo, you can Venmo at Robert-Nestor-1 to offer your support in helping them handle everything that's going on in their lives right now, with the changing scenery continually.
Yeah, exactly. We were racing for a cause tonight, as well as supporting a fellow family member, quote unquote, as these drivers are just like family week in and week out. As we have a battle for third, Josh Ward was looking to the inside of the 63 of Dale Leckis, but they are going to straighten out here, single file. Actually, Josh Ward going back down to the inside as I speak on the front stretch, side by side. He's got the advantage at the start-finish line into turn 1. He will clear himself up high.
Leckis looks like he drops up behind Josh Ward there. He's going to follow him out. Looks like Josh Ward might be looking down to the inside of Raymond Root to see if he can keep that momentum he's still going.
Well, and Josh Ward, of course, who qualified on the pole earlier today, is still down 2 positions, but he knows how to get himself back up there. As we're watching RJ Root, and Alex Murray battle it out there. Oh, and the 69 car is spinning like a top of Dale Lucas.
Yeah, we were actually lucky enough to watch that happen live there.
Let's take a look and see exactly what happened with Dale. We can see Dale running here through the turn, gets himself loose and sucked right up into the wall.
So exactly what I called there during the warm-up, Dave. He got that sensitive steering input there, tried to save the car, and it just absolutely went to the right. Unfortunate, very, very unlucky there. As he gets loose on entry, tries to correct, and just next gen gets him.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing we almost saw with Brian Tarnowski there. Same issue. You get a little loose going in, and you can't save it.
No, once that car starts to snap loose, there's next to no catching it, especially at speed like that, as he was carrying it into the turn. And of course, your reaction time, no matter how good you are with reaction time, you just can't beat physics.
And that will be our 5th caution here. We're running lap 40 of 225. 35 laps to the end of the stage here in this 225 lap race. Dave, what is your strategy here? Are you going to come down for fuel and make sure you're good for the end here, or are you going to stay out and bet on another caution?
Well, I think if we look at the rhythm of the race so far, I'd be willing to bet that with 35 laps just to get to the end of stage 1, that we're going to see at least another caution, maybe 2, over those next 35 laps. I mean, I hope not. I'd love to see green flag racing from here to the end, but unfortunately, stats don't lie. Numbers never lie. You can make them say different things, but I just think that we're going to see at least one more. So maybe you can play it a little liberal here and take your chances.
Yeah, this is definitely playing into Alex Murray and RJ Root's hand here, because they're one of the only cars that haven't hit pit lane yet. But if you look at our sixth place car, the 84 of Andrew Layton, he's up 22 positions, but he last pitted on lap 6, so he definitely made his way back up through the field.
Oh, absolutely. Andrew Layton is, like I said earlier, one of those guys who will hang in there, and we can definitely be sure that he is, before we get restarted, he is going to reach way up and pull those belts tight. And as the field gets itself settled in here onto the backstretch, we'll take another look here at the restart order as Alex Murray is still leading this race. It seems like, and maybe somebody can look this up for me quick, if he has led every lap or darn near every lap of the race, with Raymond Root on the outside of row 1 in his number 2 Ford, Josh Ward in 3rd, Barrett Coffey is in the number 4, back in 4th, Nicholas Breidenbach rounds out your top 5 in the number 24 Chevrolet, Andrew Layton starting the next part of the top 5, or part of the top 10, correction, the number 84 Chevrolet, Zach Osborne in 7th, Nicholas Burlow in 8th, J.C. Gibson in the number 9 Toyota, and Steve Dardaris rounding out your top 10. And the also mentioned is Chris Claude in the number 10 Toyota in 11th, and Bob Nestor in 12th, with Ryan Samuelson in unlucky position number 13.
As the lights on the pace car are out here, it looks like we're going to stack them up, double file, getting ready to go green here. And behind Ryan Samuelson is the number 93 machine. William Fink looks like he's in 14th position. It updated there just a second as I was about to read it off. But Seba Cornez in 15th. We saw him wreck earlier in that number 1 machine. 16th, Randy Spivey, the 22 Ford Mustang. And rounding out your top 20, we have Bradley Gunn, Michael Overstreet, and Kevin Rourke, followed by Zachary Vaughn in 20th.
And folks, as we get ready to restart here, we're going to keep our mouths closed and we're going to let you guys turn it up for this next segment of the race as we get restarted here. And we hope that you enjoy this so far, as I know we have. So let's take it away and turn it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to bring you back into our race here at the Racing for Stacy 350 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is the SNN family of broadcasts. And right now we're watching a pretty good race as Alex Murray is the Pied Piper of Atlanta, leading RJ Root and the rest of the field for what seems like the majority of this race. We're here supporting Stacy and Brian Tarnowski, who are, Brian Tarnowski is driving the number 55 car. He's got a little bit of damage right now. As a caution has come out, what do you guys see?
Steve Dardaris.
Let's see what happened with Steve here.
I'm going to bet he got loose off of turn 2. Yep, that's exactly what happens here. It looks like the 29 gave him a little bit of air on his spoiler, and off he went.
Yeah, it seems to be the theme of the night. You know, coming off the exit of the corners there. Just been a little rough.
Well, kudos to him for holding that brake and making sure that he didn't come back up in.
That is correct. He could have ruined 2 cars' nights right there, but he chose to class act, locked them down, ruined that set of tires, but he saved 2 other cars' races.
Ruined them, I'll bet you that they're flat spotted like a pancake.
Exactly. As we had Andrew Layton went down pit road. He's our top 5 car that went down pit road. I knew I saw somebody go down. Andrew Layton gonna gamble here. Gonna pit. He should be good until the end of the stage now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it looks like Alex Murray and RJ Root. And it looks like Josh Ward is also one of the ones that haven't pit yet, and they're running 1, 2, 3. So it's gonna be to see who blinks first, or if they're gonna be able to make it a few more laps and hope for another caution.
That is correct. Cautions breed cautions here, and we're in our 6th caution, lap 51. We should have about 3 more laps till we go green here, and our top 5 really has not changed throughout the race. Maybe a driver or 2 has swapped in and out, but they have been really consistent in that top 5 tonight.
Yeah, they have definitely been, and like you said, we've definitely seen the exit of the corners be the problem issue. But as we have a minute here, let's go ahead and plug our live chat. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you're thinking of Stacy and what all we can do for them, and also be sure to get to that PayPal link and donate whatever your heart desires. I mean, anything helps.
Yeah, one little fun thing I like to do in chat is if you're watching here and not racing, please list the driver that you're fan favorite of the night, and we'll try to get them airtime here.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a couple people on the YouTube chat saying let's go Overstreet, Tarnowski, and Burlow. And then we got looks like Chad Sanner saying let's go Alex Murray, Zach O, and Zach Vaughn.
That's Ed Hauk who's
ahead,
pulling for that. Sorry, that's Ed Hauk who's pulling for that upper group of drivers with Overstreet, Tarnowski, and Burlow. And he is one heck of a graphic design artist with Hauk Graphics. And I'll tell you what, literally just today, I saw some of his work as he was doing something for me. And man, he is talented. So if you're in the iRacing community, please reach out to him and support him in his business venture. And, we like to see people that we race with and see week in and week out be supported by the community as we are the Tarnowskis, Brian and Stacy. Stacy, we know that according to your husband, you're upstairs listening and watching the feed, and we hope that you're okay, and we're praying for you. We just want to let you know that we're here to support you, that anything you need, we're here for. ESPN has been gracious enough to allow us this airtime, so please make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications to get as much ESPN content as possible. I know the race schedule is usually fairly busy every week, so there's always something to watch when you're at home at night. We broadcast 7 days a week. Sometimes there's 3 races a night, which seems to be the busiest night of the week is Tuesdays, and I know that there's races 3 times over that period, as they're 3 wide here, getting back together. Anyway, we just want to make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications for ESPN and Sim Racing Media SRM here on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook under SRM, and like the page. Let us know, as we are under green back here again at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and yet again Alex Murray getting that jump over Raymond Root.
Every restart here, I'm seeing Raymond Root close that gap faster and faster, so he's getting more and more practice, learning when Alex Murray goes. He's within a car length here, less than a tenth away from Alex Murray. Great job by Raymond Root picking up the pieces here, restart by restart.
As Nicholas Breidenbach makes a pass on Josh Ward to come into 3rd position. He's up into the top 3 after having a little bit of trouble earlier in the race.
Well, and we're at lap 55, so we're about 21 laps away. It's going to be 20 laps to go in this first stage at the start-finish line, as the crew comes down here on the backstretch into turn 3 and 4. So we're going to see a lot of different pit strategies, as there have been a lot of cautions tonight in this first stage. We've got 255 laps altogether to race to get to that 350-mile mark, as Alex Murray ticks off another lap leading, going here at lap 56.
Yeah, just a reminder, your top 2 is not pitted this entire race, plus your 6th place position of the number 4 Mustang of Barrett Coffee. So those 3 are going to be looking to come down pit road here very, very soon. We've got a move for 2nd place here on the inside. Nicholas Breidenbach coming on the inside of Raymond Root. Out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. He has the advantage. Looking to the inside for the lead.
Yeah, Breidenbach's definitely trying to carry that momentum he built up there as Raymond Root comes back on the high side.
Alex Murray able to make that car 3 wide all on its own to keep those guys back there fighting amongst themselves. And here we are with another caution, as it looks like Kevin Roark and Ryan Samuelson, Michael Overstreet, and Brian Tarnowski have all been involved in something back here a little bit further in the field. So everybody's going to slow down again and get themselves resettled. Let's take a look and see what happened back here with Kevin Roark.
Sounds like crashing already ahead, so maybe a situation of ARCA braking.
Now we're going to look here at the 81 car, if we can. Hopefully his number matches up with what's on there, and of course it doesn't. So we're going to take another look here and
Looks
see
like
if
it's
that's
Ryan.
perhaps Michael Overstreet.
Who's that?
Oh, it seems like there was another incident here with Michael Overstreet. So maybe simultaneous crashes.
Yeah, it looks like that was Ryan Samuelson, the 81 car.
Yeah, he's being shown as the 3. That's correct, Mike. 81 of Ryan Samuelson was in that first wreck, as it looks like the 93 of Michael Overstreet came in and got sideways on top of Brian Tarnowski as they were trying to avoid that previous wreck ahead.
Pandemonium in the ring as we get ourselves resituated here. Still trying to get to the end of stage number 1 at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Racing for Stacy 350. Stacy, of course, is Stacy Tarnowski, the wife of the number 55 driver, Brian Tarnowski, who appears to be back out on track and off a pit road, which is good for him. as he is out here supporting his wife who's at home battling cancer. And we are ever so supportive and loving. Make sure that as you're on our Facebook and YouTube pages, please click that PayPal link if you're able to, and donate if you will, to help offset some of the costs and things that the Tarnowskis are incurring right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about support here. But as Alex Murray and Raymond Root, we're 15 to go here in the stage, and we have had 7 cautions. So I honestly think that they could make it without pitting here.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're gonna probably take that gamble. I mean, you see Alex Murray down on the apron there. Looks like he might be trying to coast. Maybe, you never know. Save a little fuel, but with how many cautions we've had, 75 laps, this and out of the realm of possibility on a fuel run.
Absolutely, and we are way beyond what would have been the normal pit window here as we look back through the field. We can see all the way back here to the 4 car of Barrett Coffey riding around in 6th. He's up 5 positions from where he started, and he is quietly making his march toward the front in his Enville Insurance number 4 Ford machine.
Lights are out on the pace cars. They're gonna double file up again, and we'll get ready to go again.
Yes, we have a viewer in our chat, Lil Rat Fink. So I'm guessing he's related to the 93 machine of William Fink. Says his drivers are the 22 of Randy Spivey and the 93 of William Fink for tonight's race.
Well, it's always nice when family members and friends and co-workers and when everybody's out here supporting the drivers on the track, but most importantly the cause that we're here for tonight, as this field gets ready to come back through and take that green flag yet again, with the Pied Piper of Atlanta, Alex Murray, waiting to make his next twitch on the throttle.
I see how much Raymond Root has learned from all these restarts. He's had the ability to watch.
As the pace car dives down as we speak, Alex Murray takes control of the green flag, gets a really good jump, but Raymond Root staying within a car length at the start-finish line. This is the closest restart we have seen all night.
Yeah, that
looks
time
like
Murray
Nicholas
wasn't able to get that. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, you're good. No, all I was going to say is it looked like Nicholas Breidenbach got to the back bumper of Alex Murray before he was ready to go. So that cost him a little bit of time there as he's on the high side here.
Well, we see Nicholas Breidenbach taking that high line, saving those tires as best as he can. But right now, he's got to be trying to match RJ Root step for step here. Going in as he loosens up by taking a little bit of air off that rear end of Raymond Root. And Nicholas Breidenbach is going to be our new P2 driver with one down on the apron. A little bit of mess back there.
Yeah, Seba Cornez, William Fink, the Bradley Gun Machine, Jad Khalif, and Jeff O'Rourke all involved in that 8th caution of the race as we come to lap 64.
So does this look familiar, guys?
It only looks like what's happened all night here. Seba Cornez loose off of turn 2 here, locks it up, barely taps the inside wall, but we've got more wrecking ahead, the 25 and the 12. That would be the 25. It is not shown in SDK. We have a 25, another custom paint scheme.
You know, no matter how many times we try to identify those guys.
The 12 of Jad Khalif was involved. I do know that.
Bear with me here as I'm looking for that replay. with Jad Khalif here, as we
Looks
see
like,
him coming down and getting himself involved. The 12 is also the 25.
It looks like the 25 of Jeff O'Rourke.
And then when Seba Cornez
There's
coming
Jad.
in a little late.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, unfortunately, Seba just seemed to be a magnet there and brings it all back together. Me personally, I've gotten to know Seba pretty well. He's a fan of. Have you guys, either of you, ever listened to the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz?
I have not.
I have not either.
Definitely worth a listen. Seba, as a kind of an inside joke with the podcast there, that's based out of Miami. Seba gets the show, so hopefully he can be 1% better and get himself back out there and back competing tonight.
I will check that out after this race here, but one thing I'm looking at is your hardest charger back up here. Blast pitted on lap 50. He is in 7th place, up 17 positions at number 16 Chevrolet Camaro, or excuse me, 8th place, 20 positions up. Andrew Layton in the 84 machine. My bad there. I looked at the wrong profile, but up 20 positions. That is insane. He already pitted, went to the back, and came back up to 8th.
Well, look at the the car just in front of him that we were started to talk about, Nicholas below there. He's up 17 positions, last pitted on lap 12.
Talk about guys who are able to hold it together for a long period of time, but we're 10 laps shy of that stage break, and I guess they've decided to take that advantage. And hey, as long as you can hold yourself in the top 10 and you're not really falling back, there's no reason to come down and give up all those positions and have to fight back through traffic, don't you think?
That is correct. Strategy is about, I'd say 80-85% of racing here, and the rest is where you put yourself in the driver's seat. Strategy is everything here.
Definitely. And as we're looking towards the front here at Alex Murray, he's led probably every lap. Might have missed one or two, but looks like James is going to be paying out quite a bit for this donation if he keeps leading these laps.
Well, and as grateful as we are for James's contribution from SRM and ESBN, it's definitely good to see that it's going to get taken care of within this first stage or so. I just want to look in here at Bob Nestor. He's the commissioner of the MNN Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series under the SNN umbrella and family of racing on iRacing.com. And he's the man who we can give a little bit of credit to for putting all of this together tonight. He organized the session and got all these drivers to come out. And we can see that there is definitely a lot of respect for the man, even though that it looks like he's driving a modified tonight.
Nothing wrong with that. He is in 10th place here, or 9th place, so he's kicking. He's not dead yet. That 29 Sweetheart machine's still alive, but huge appreciation to Bob Nestor for throwing this on.
You know, when you said that he's not dead yet, it makes me think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I'm not dead yet! As we are under green again, and the cars will take off, and let's see if Alex Murray can do what he's done all night in this 28 Edge Chevrolet, and he yet again jumps out to 0.3 of a second lead over Raymond Root and Nicholas Breidenbach, who are side by side competing for that second and third spot. And it just appears like they are going to be going at it tooth and nail all night.
Yeah, they swapped lanes there. As soon as they got to the start-finish line, they were opposite. Nicholas Breidenbach almost into the wall, running that Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson line here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Very close to touching the wall out of turn 4. But into turn 1, here we have Alex Murray leading, Nicholas Breidenbach in second, shortly followed by Raymond Root in third. Excellent battle for your top three here.
And you know, Mike,
Definitely,
go ahead.
I'm saying definitely as you look at it, though, Nicholas Breidenbach pitted on lap 12 and is back up here in second place. But you have Alex Murray and Raymond Root who haven't pitted yet. Looks like they're going to probably make it to the end of the stage here with only 5 laps left to go.
No, and Breidenbach out of Orlando, Florida, has kept it competitive even with this long run of tires. He's definitely going to be contending for that lead position as we get into the later stages of this race. Because we now know that he's got at least an extra set of tires that he's going to keep as they close in, and he's looking to make the pass underneath Alex Murray. And you got to be careful because you don't want to take that line too low and burn those tires off. But it looks like he's going to get a little bit of a push from Raymond Root and go for the lead here in the closing laps of stage 1, and he makes the pass. Nicholas Breidenbach does. And he is now going to command over top of Alex Murray.
What a power move from that 24 machine here as Murray surrenders his lead, falls in second, heads. He does not surrender. Down to the inside he goes at the start-finish line, side by side into turn 1 here. The 28 machine, both pink for breast cancer awareness, but sideways is Nicholas Breidenbach here. Out of turn 2, sideways he was in turn 1. Mike, what do you say about this racing here for the stage? Turn!
Oh, no!
Right behind him.
Oh,
like
no.
Breidenbach
Breidenbach just took a race car to the face.
Yeah, it looks like they got too close racing side by side and just bounced off and went right into that wall. Looks like he also was able to, collected Raymond Root there for a little bit too. As we're under caution here, it looks like we're going to make it to the stage break under caution, so.
I just want to get a little bit of a better angle here from the cockpit of Breidenbach, who was absolutely going for the lead and just got himself sideways after he was taken down. We'll look at it from his perspective here. And there was no way he could even feel that, as Alex Murray was also involved there. We'll take another look from Alex Murray's cockpit as he gets on the inside of Breidenbach. What do you see there, Mike?
Oh, it looks like just like what we were talking about all night. You know, you get a little close and then you get just a little bit loose and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, once they start to slide, you're sliding.
Yeah, I call that a racing incident. I mean, they're going for the lead. What do you expect here? As I see that 15 machine getting spiked up for tires there. They all took tires, it looked like. So, gonna skip the stage break here. Or not skip. This is gonna conclude the stage here for stage 1. Everyone taking tires. About the first time all night I've seen everyone in the field take all tires.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like one car stayed out of Zachary Vaughn, but he pitted on lap 64, so he'll be out to lead the laps, it looks like.
And we see Breidenbach coming off of pit road there in the number 24 Chevrolet. And we can only hope that he's got a little something, but without that hood on there, it's going to be real tough. And Zachary Vaughn out in front of the pack. I thought maybe we'd see him come down pit road, but it appears not. Last pitting on lap 64.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to take this chance to get out in front, lead some laps, and with how many cautions there's been, he's got plenty of time to catch another caution to come down and get tires and fuel. So
Alex Murray all the way back to 8th.
Yeah, I was just about to say that Alex Murray didn't fall too far back. 7 positions back from where he was previously running there just a couple of laps ago. But main question here is, after 75 laps of racing, we've still got 2 more stages of 75 laps. We've had about 8 or 9 cautions here. Do you think that's going to continue in this pattern, or do you think we're going to clean it up here?
Well, I think as we see a lot of times on iRacing, that the later stages in any race, whether it's stage racing or straight through, those later stages usually start to get those longer green flag runs as the field is a little emptier and the drivers are just kind of settling in to get their position and points. Mike?
Yeah, I definitely think that's what we're going to see. I mean, as we look at this race, I mean, we have, looks like 13 cars on the lead lap. So definitely going to start getting a little thinner for the lead up here. So, and besides that, everybody's probably figured out what they can do on cold tires, what they can do on warm tires. I mean, but as we've seen almost all night, the exit of the corners are going to be the problem. So if they can hold it together, it'd be long green flag runs.
Well, and that is what we like to see here. Long green flag runs are usually a lot more exciting, as Josh Ward is our new race leader, or at least as far as iRacing and SDK are concerned, he's our new leader. The pace car lights are off. We're going to take a quick look here at the top 10. We've got Zachary Vaughn and Josh Ward on the front row, Nicholas Burlow in third, Raymond Root in fourth, J.C. Gibson fifth, Barrett Coffey, Alex Murray, Andrew Layton, Chris Cloud, and Nicholas Breidenbach round out your top 10, as we're about to see this iRacing Ford Mustang pace car drop off and get ready to head down pit road any second now with the 111 Chevrolet, 711 Chevrolet. That's a lot of 11s. Of Zachary Vaughn, get ready to take the field down to the start-finish line. And they are off and underway again at the opening of Stage 2, and Zachary Vaughn dropping back almost immediately, waiting for a little bit of a push from Raymond Root in that Hooters Ford. But that gives Josh Ward enough time to open up more than a half-second lead over the rest of the field.
Yeah, that 111 machine actually looks like it has front-end nose damage. A really bad start there for Raymond Root as he was stuck behind. As we are 3 wide now, Breidenbach and Root looking for their way back, getting around that 111 machine. Root stuck in between 2 damaged cars here as we have the 84 of Andrew Layton into the wall back there. And sideways is Nicholas Breidenbach.
And sideways is Nicholas Breidenbach, as he obviously was driving with a little bit of a temper there after the previous incident. We're just going to take a look and see exactly what happened.
All three of our race leaders that were running up front earlier: Alex Murray, Raymond Root, and Breidenbach.
Well, Breidenbach definitely got a little loose there as he was trying to make that charge back forward, and it just seems like he couldn't hold it on turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like Breidenbach got loose, came into the nose of Raymond Root, and then Raymond Root came down on Alex Murray, and then
that's Barrett Coffey that Alex Murray came into.
Yeah. Yeah,
as it was just like a stack of dominoes falling over.
Looks like we're going to have probably quite a few takers on pit road who were involved in that crash there.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, we're on lap number 80 of 225. We're in stage number 2 of the Racing for Stacy 350 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, hosted by SNN, the Sunday Night NASCAR Family of Racing Series, which of course is, oddly enough, on a Sunday night. Sunday night is Cup for the SNN family, Monday night is Xfinity Series, and Tuesday night is the Thunder Trucks. all three commissioners are racing right now, and it looks like 2 out of those 3 commissioners are in the top 10 in Bob Nestor and Chris Cloud, respectively. And Barrett Coffey, the commissioner of the Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, is back in 11th. We are here supporting Brian and Stacy Tarnowski. We are racing with a cause tonight. Racing for a cause, correction. As Stacy Tarnowski, the wife of the driver of the number 55 Chevrolet, Brian Tarnowski, she is at home battling cancer. She's actually on the 2nd round of battling cancer. 3 years ago, she was declared cancer-free after a courageous fight with breast cancer. And back in December, they got the news after some back pain that she was feeling. After some scans and other tests, of course, that they run for these things, that the cancer had returned. And it sounds somewhat a little dark, but we talked to Brian Tarnowski earlier in the race, and he seems very positive and upbeat. And Stacy, we know that she's at home watching and listening to the broadcast, and we pray for her continually, and we lift them up in support. And speaking of support, if you're able to, please check in on the ESPN feed on YouTube. Check in with that PayPal link if you're able. If you're not on PayPal or you prefer Venmo, there is a Venmo link for at Robert-Nestor-1 if you're able to donate that way. Also, speaking of donations, I guess James Riles was kind of stuck there at 75 when Alex Murray went down and got involved in this last wreck that brought out yet another caution as we close out lap 81, guys.
That is correct. Unfortunate turn of events for Alex Murray, but I think it did meet the minimum requirement there of James's donation. So it looks like somebody else has a chance now to bump up that number here, or even Alex Murray once he gets back up to the front. But lights on the pace car are out here, Dave.
Yeah, we have a new leader leading them down. Josh Ward qualified on the pole and is back up front. He'll have control of the restart on this one.
Yes, the pride of Whiteville and the number 15 Chevrolet is going to bring him down the backstretch following that pace car. And as Tanner just mentioned, the pace car lights are out, so we'll be going green this time by at the start-finish line. And so far, we've seen a lot of cautions tonight. What do you think, fellas?
I think it's just a product of not really racing around each other in these next gen, possibly, versus the everyone trying out different setups here in the early stages of this race. So I think it'll clean up.
I think it about has to clean up because we're going to be left with very few cars on the lead lap right now. We have, looks like 10 on the lead lap at the moment. So, and that does not include our our 28 car that was leading the most laps of Alex Murray.
Yeah, as we are green here, Josh Ward takes a demanding lead, about 3 car lengths, as Nicholas Berlow in that 16 machine on the inside, as JC Gibson in that Toyota up top here. He is going to take second place onto the backstretch into turn 3. Josh Ward still has that lead. JC Gibson following closely.
And you know, you mentioned that Toyota, and as I look here at our leaderboard, it appears like there's a pretty nice mix of manufacturers at the front of the pack with Chevy, Toyota, Ford, Chevy through the top 7. And it's always nice to see when the manufacturers have a nice representation at the front and they're not all together. As JC Gibson gets himself loose and down to the white line, but he will recover and get back up in his groove and keep chasing down Josh Ward. As we hope that JC didn't burn up too many tires, as another caution has come out.
It's like Barry Coffey and Randy Spivey, possibly?
Yeah, I'm going to go with maybe. Let's take a look here. Looks like Barrett might have gotten a little loose. We'll see what happens. Looks like Barrett Coffee might have been bumped a little bit by Andrew Layton. My goodness, talk about, that's not bump drafting. That's hey buddy, I'm here.
That looks like after the caution has already come out. A little bit of ARCA braking. There was another reason for the caution somewhere.
Yeah, go back
Randy
and look
Spivey?
at Randy Spivey. Looks like he might have had an issue because he entered pit lane.
And we see Randy Spivey rubbing the wall and coming down, and chances are Barrett Coffee was trying to slow down to avoid what was going on in front of him. Barrett Coffee a little sideways in his pit box there. Sitting on pit lane as we are at lap number 86 on our 11th caution through 86 laps. That's not a number that you really like to see. That's one caution every 8.6 laps.
Maybe we need to ask James if he's going to do it for the pace car instead.
I'll tell you what, at this point, that's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, and something to bring in question here. We've currently been running for an hour and 15 minutes, and we have completed approximately 86 laps here. We've got an hour and 43 minutes left in this session, and we have how many laps left here? About 140 or so, possibly. So, 140 laps to go for an hour and 42 minutes here. Gonna be very, very close if we can make it to the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we keep having these cautions, it's going to slow that down, and we're going to be racing for a time limit.
Yeah, it's kind of like looking on the radar. It seems like as we look forward to Daytona and the Daytona 500, as they're having speed weeks down there right now, it almost seems like every few years we're staring at the radar and wondering if we're going to finish under green or under yellow, or if they're going to get the race close. And this seems to be one of those situations where we're wondering if we're going to make it before the storm gets here, or in this case, before the timer runs out on the server.
Yeah, we've got approximately 138 laps here with an hour and 41 minutes. So very, very close, like you said, kind of like a rain type thing. But I wonder how they're going to deal with this, if that's going to change their strategy or if they're just going to keep rolling here. But yeah, that's what I was saying.
I mean, I think I think like you were saying, Tanner, it might change their strategy. I mean, or they might just say, well, let's just have some fun and racing for a good cause, and let's just go out and race as hard as we can for as long as we can.
Exactly. Whatever gives the viewers the best run for their money at this point. Josh Ward and JC Gibson going to be on your front row here, followed by Bob Nestor, Nicholas Burlow on the second row, and rounding out your top five would be Steve Darderis on the inside of your third row. As pace car lights are out of turn two onto the back stretch, we've got another 50% of the track to go before we go green here. But Mike, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to see some green flag runs.
Well, it'd be nice to get more than like 10 or 12 laps. I mean, when these guys are racing green, it makes for some really good racing, especially with the way they were racing up front. We had a pretty good battle for first, and then we had a good battle going for third. So hopefully we can see that come to fruition with looks like we have 10 cars on the lead lap. So
well, and here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, we're always looking at different types of cars, and as I look over history, of course, this season will be the first time that the real life guys will be taking these next gens as Josh Ward gets ready to bring them back to the start finish line, and we are back underway in green flag racing, and let's see if we can make this a longer green flag run here as JC Gibson and Nicholas Burlow are battling it out for second, letting Josh Ward open up a little bit of a lead here with a quarter second over Perelman. And everybody's going to get single file. Seems through about 7th place, they're all single file. With a couple of group, that little group there trying to stay on the low side, but I don't think that's going to hold off very long. The most wins here at Atlanta Motor Speedway belong to Dale Earnhardt Sr. with 9. And of course, he also has the most top 5s at 26. Would either of you guys like to take a guess and see at knowing who has the most top 10s here at Atlanta Motor Speedway?
Oh, mine's gonna be off. I'm just gonna throw up a random name here. Let's go. Oh, I'm actually not gonna guess. I don't want to be wrong.
It's
I don't know.
okay.
Would it happen to be Senior again?
No, actually, this time it happens to be Richard Petty, who has 33 top 10s out of 65 starts. The most poles here is Buddy Baker and Ryan Newman with 7 apiece.
Hey, that is some interesting stats brought to you by Dave Regal as the 4th place car of Bob Nestor here, second out of turn 2, gets very sideways. What a save that was here. He doesn't lose any positions yet, but gap is closing between him and Steve Dardaris behind him. Josh Ward still out to a lead, about 3 seconds ahead of all that action.
And with that 3-second lead that Josh Ward has opened up, actually, it looks like he's got about a 1.05 second lead right now over J.C. Gibson. Now he's
3 seconds over Bob Nestor.
Sorry about that. Looks like he's now trying to catch the most laps led record here, which is held by Cale Yarborough with 3,283. So he's got a few more to catch Cale, but we'll see how he can hold it running through here.
Yeah, definitely these first 3 or 4 drivers definitely have about a half second lead between each other, so definitely no side-by-side racing up there.
No, like but we see them side by side.
I would say the 111 of Zachary Vaughn on the low side going a little slower than Steve Dardaris and Chris Cloud.
Well, the 111 right now is just trying to stay in the draft and keep up with Cloud and the number 93 of William Fink as they are coming down toward the backstretch out of turn 2. And as I called him earlier, Claude is absolutely Mr. Consistency in this particular group of guys. As he will stay in his line, he won't move from it, and he'll make you work to pass him, that's for darn sure.
Definitely looks like everybody's kind of settled down now, though, and we're getting a little bit of a green flag run. Everybody's dropped in single file.
Single file racing is nice, especially after the mayhem of the first 85 laps here. And, correction, 95 laps here. And it's nice just to see everybody kind of get into a groove. You might see, just like right there with the number 93 of William Fink, who's being cheered on in our YouTube live chat by Rat Fink, I believe was the name. But you'll see somebody smoke a break every now and then, but we see Barrett Coffey here making the move to the inside of the number 9, or the 22 of Randy Spivey.
As we saw a little bit of smoke right there from the 22 of Randy Spivey on the exit of turn 2, and it looked like smoke from the 93 machine as well. Both of them smoking their tires, drifting sideways on lap 98. We've got a 4-car pack right there.
Now we can see here the distance between Nestor and Dardaris is about 2 seconds, so he's got himself something pretty comfortable here. which is nice. It's 1.91 seconds that he's opened up. So he's recovered nicely. If you remember, he had a lot of damage early on in the race. Almost looked like a modified car, but it looks like his pit crew has done a heck of a lot of work with the bear bond to get the hood back on that car and get himself back out there and in contention as he's running here in 5th. Barrett Coffey in the number 4 has moved himself quietly all the way up into 3rd position. And Barrett is one of those drivers that he's kind of like a Jedi Master. He and Bob Nestor both are kind of like Jedi Masters. They have themselves a couple of Padawan learners. And, as Barrett Coffey buys himself a spot of grass here and gets himself up onto the racing surface again.
Yeah, Coffee Landscaping there at your service, coming out of turn 4, but he has gathered it back up, and out of turn 2 he goes. 5th place, has not lost, only lost 1 position, has not lost any more since we saw Bob Nestor come on by for that 4th place position. But JC Gibson is up to 2nd. We didn't speak about that, but as we turn over to lap 100, Josh Ward, JC Gibson, and Nicholas Burlow round out your top 3 here.
Yeah, definitely. As we're sitting there watching these guys turn these laps, I mean, it's nice to see that Brian Tarnowski's out running after that early damage he had. I mean, trying to get as much laps and stuff as he can get for his wife Stacy. And just I got a note from Alex Murray who said he just wanted to lead as much as he could for Stacy. So, everybody's heart's in it for Stacy. So just want to say, if you're feeling the need, if something's pulling on your heart, go donate through that PayPal link, or like David said, there's also a Venmo if you can't do PayPal. So,
and that Venmo is at Robert-Nestor-1, if that's the way that you would prefer to donate, if you're able to. And we genuinely just appreciate you being part of tonight's broadcast tonight, part of tonight's races. Here we are with yet another caution, and this one involves the aforementioned Brian Tarnowski. Let's see what happened back here. As it looks like Tarnowski just buys himself a section of wall in the backstretch.
Yeah,
as he
just like we've been
looks
seeing
like
all
Loose out
night.
of turn 2.
And it looks like Tarnowski tried to get it saved. He thought he had it, and the car just sucks right up into the wall. And he takes that outside safer barrier right to the face. But he won't be swayed. I'm almost positive he's going to go down and get that repair done after he tows. And get himself some repair. And of course that's going to bring out the parade to pit road, which of course I don't know how many of these guys have been taking tires during these multiple pit cycles, as Josh Ward getting ready to come down pit road. As it looks like a good portion of the field is too, including Robert Nestor. JC Gibson is going to stay out. Josh Ward is in. Barrett Coffey's in. Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you gotta be thinking they're probably coming in to get tires, and maybe they're thinking it's not going to make it to the 225 laps with how this race has been going. So you get tires and fuel and go for as long as you can. Looks like we got 45 laps till the stage break, so definitely something to be on the lookout for.
That is correct. I was just about to say that if they pit here, and they should be able to make it to the end of the stage here at lap 150. But if there is at least one caution, I know that they will make it from here till then. So something to look forward to for the strategy.
Yeah, with about 46 laps, I believe it is. Mike?
Yeah, definitely. We're on lap 105 of 225. Stage break at 150 as we see Bob Nestor get his repairs done and is back out on the track.
We've seen these guys battling all night, and it's been quite a race, and very aggressive for being, a car that we're not really completely comfortable in. As far as, is this new? Is this old? Is this something that we're comfortable with? It just seems like, they're all trying to feel each other out, but after 106 laps, you'd hope that things would be settled by now, and they can get a good long green flag run in here coming up.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they kind of had it settled down a little bit, but as we've been talking about all night, the tires and coming out of the corners, I mean, you get on the gas a little too soon, you spin yourself right around.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even about throttle input. It's all about aerodynamics, and if your car gets a little bit of dirty air or another car dumps air on your spoiler, it's gonna upset that rear end and just send you around. And whenever you go to correct, it'll send you right into that wall, as we just saw Brian Tarnowski do this past caution whenever he tried to save it, and the wall just sucked him up, like you said, Dave.
Yeah, there's a couple of racetracks out here on the NASCAR circuit that wall seems like a vacuum. One of them, of course, is here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The other is at Pocono Raceway up in Pennsylvania, which is actually about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half from my house. And when you get near that wall on the front stretch, it wants to suck in, and it actually kind of side drafts you and slows you down. And obviously here, as Brian found out, it won't just slow you down, it'll bring you to a complete stop.
Definitely will do that. As the lights are out on the pace car and we line up again 2 by 2.
A tip of the cap, too, to the pace car driver who's had a lot of work to do tonight. And I don't think there's been a substitute driver in there, if he's had to go get a hot dog and a Coke.
Yeah,
And a little pee break in the fire suit.
Hey, I mean, sometimes you got to make do. Maybe he was paying attention to Mark Schlereth and just decides to wear that diaper.
Lord have mercy. As we have a new front row as we're coming out of turn 4 here in just a few seconds. Pace car is going to dive down into pit road momentarily. But JC Gibson and Nicholas Burlow on our front row, both gaining decent amount of position. JC gaining 4, Nicholas gaining 22. His green flag is in the air here. JC Gibson has control of the race. At the start-finish line, he has even gap. Actually, not even a gap. He's falling behind to the outside line of Nicholas Burlow. Josh Ward on the outside is going to be side-by-side with him coming out of turn 2.
And this is a 3-car battle for the lead. And it is competitive as all get out, as Josh Ward and JC Gibson are going to duke it out behind Nicholas Burlow. With Josh Ward making the move to the inside on Burlow, I think we're going to see him pull that off with relative ease. And he is going to slowly slide back up into position here and start leading laps again. As we are at lap number 109. Folks at home, we'd like to take this moment to turn it up. And we are back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in Henry, Georgia. And so far, it's been quite an eventful caution series as we are here racing for Stacy 350. Stacy being Stacy Tarnowski, who is the wife of the driver of the number 55 Chevrolet Brian Tarnowski, an SNN series regular. Stacy is at home battling cancer for the second time, and she has really been going through it, as well as her husband, of course, who is here tonight supporting his wife, as well as so many other drivers from the iRacing.com community, who we are very thankful for. Tonight, if you want to be able to support the Tarnowskis, as there's a little bit of smoke here, looks like the 93 of William Fink is on the infield.
That is Randy Spivey in the 22.
Well, 93, 20, they kind of look alike. Anyway, so where was I? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the PayPal link. So there is a PayPal link in our Facebook and YouTube video feeds that you can donate to if you're able to. Also, if you don't use PayPal and you prefer Venmo, there is a Venmo address that you can send it to. It's Robert-Nestor-1, and that's on Venmo if you prefer to donate that way. We are thankful for everything, including what James Riles has done as far as pledging a minimum of $75 if the person who races the most laps as the leader, who leads the most laps, can get over that 75 lap mark, which I believe belongs to Alex Murray, and we will have to check on those statistics in a little while. But right now our leader is Josh Ward of the number 15 Chevrolet, as he has taken over as the Pied Piper of Atlanta. Moving back through the field, as we're going to get you guys caught up on who is where and where they're from. Josh Ward, of course, the pride of Whiteville. J.C. Gibson in that number 9 Toyota from Pensacola. Nicholas Burlow. Bob Nestor, the pride of Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and the commissioner of the MNN Xfinity Series here on the SNN family of racing series. Also, just a quick shout out for Bob. He is the man who got this race together, who recruited the drivers for tonight, and who organized this whole thing, including getting us here on the broadcast. Bob is an absolutely wonderful person for being able to do this for Brian and Stacy Tarnowski, and I know that they appreciate it very much. As we move along here to Fairview, Tennessee native Chris Claude, also the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner. William Fink in the number 94 Ford from Bisbee, Arizona. He's a retired sailor and a father of 7. We were just talking about kids. Can you guys imagine 7 kids?
Answer that question. No, I could not. Pat on the back, William.
Yeah, 7, no. I've got 4, and that's enough.
2 is plenty for me. And moving right along here, we have Barrett Coffee and the Enville Insurance number 4 Ford from Prim Springs, Tennessee. Steve Dardaris from Fayetteville, New York, is running in the 8th position. Randy Spivey in the number 22 Ford also from Bisbee, Arizona. I wonder if he and William Fink know one another. I feel like Bisbee, Arizona is not that big of a town. And rounding out your... And then J.C. I'm sorry, I was about to say rounding out your top 10, but J.C. Gibson has moved back into 9th. And rounding out your top 10 is Andrew Layton. As here we are with another caution, and it looks like Randy Spivey has gotten himself a little issue here. And we'll take a look and see what happened.
Looks like it happened in 1 and 2, so I'm going to say he got loose in the middle of 1. Oh, that is 3 and 4. Excuse me. He got loose off the back stretch. Wait, that was 2.
That was 2. Looks like he got loose coming off of 2 again. Just like we've been talking about all night.
You know, he actually got loose a time before that, a couple of laps ago, and no caution was brought out. But this time looks like he spun it around twice.
Yes, and here's the other one. My holy Christmas! I can't believe that one. That was the one that finally brought the caution out when he decided to go spinning like a dreidel down through the turn there.
Yeah, just corrected that snappiness of the rack and pinion steering right there. Second time tonight since I've called it in the warm-ups what was going to happen if they try to save it whenever they wreck. So 20 to go here in the second stage. It'll end at lap 150. And we have our leader Josh Ward up here. And Nicholas Burlow stayed out front here in second position, followed by Bob Nestor in the top three. Your boss is in the top three.
Oh, trust me, that always makes the next morning just a little bit better when he walks in there puffed up like a peacock.
Oh, he's one of those? No, I'm just kidding. Bob,
No,
congratulations on
rib
that
each
run
other
up
back
front.
and forth all the time. Yeah, the Bobster is up there in second position, and his teammate Chris Claude in the number 10 Toyota right alongside of him. They're in third place. So they'll be starting diagonally from one another behind Josh Ward, who is still leading up here, who ran his best lap at 31.24 seconds. That's quick, but it's not as quick as the track record, though. Take a wild guess what the track record in Cup Series is for the quad oval here.
29 flat.
29 and a half.
You were both way over. It was actually November 15th, 1997. Jeffrey Bodine laid down a 28.074. That's 197 miles an hour around the quad oval.
Wow. Well, going back to what you were mentioning earlier when we were doing the field rundown, Little Rat Fink AZ says that Fink and Spivey are actually cousins.
So I guess when we say that NASCAR is a family affair, that's quite literal there.
Definitely seems to be that way. And as Josh Ward is going to continue to lead here, last pitting on lap 104, looks like he's going to be working on taking over the lead for most laps led as well.
And just as an answer to Josh Anderson in the live chat, I don't believe Angel is running this race tonight. Sorry, buddy. Speaking of the YouTube live chat, if you're out there listening, watching, taking in this awesome race so far, feel free to hit that subscribe button, mash that thing down, and get the bell notifications so that every time SRM and ESBM are live, you can check in and see what kind of great racing there is on these network of racing families. Also on Facebook, make sure to like SRM and follow us there. We are expanding all the time, always very busy. There's almost never a day that you can't find a race that SRM and ESPN are broadcasting. And I'm very fortunate to find myself in this position and to be brought into the family, into the fold by James Riles and Jonathan, as they've given me quite an opportunity, kind of an opportunity of a lifetime, when you look at the small picture. So I'm very thankful for that, and of course, they're letting us broadcast tonight here on their airwaves to support Stacy and Brian Tarnowski, who we are supporting all night long with PayPal, which the link is in our live chat, or Venmo at Robert-Nestor-1 to raise money for what is the toughest battle that anybody could ever imagine in life, which is cancer. And of course, this is now the second time that Stacy is battling this after she was cancer-free for 3 years. Back in December, she was feeling some back pain. They went for some scans, and unfortunately it had come back. And we just want them to know that we love them and we support them. As Josh Ward and Bob Nestor on the front row going into turn 3 behind the pace car are going to get set to bring us back to green. And as
Yeah,
that
Josh-
pace car's as that pace car is about to dive down onto pit road. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, and we are back underway at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And that is correct here. Bob Nestor takes second position here. He is going to fall in line with Josh Ward. Teammates, the Toyotas here at the very front of the field. Second and third place, the pink and purple machines, both themselves. As we look right behind them, we have a battle. Nicholas Burlow, Barrett Coffey. Nicholas Burlow going to go to the inside of Chris Claude here in turns 3 and 4, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to complete that pass and start working on Bob Nestor, making their way to the front. As we see William Fink up 9 positions to position 5 now. As we see Nicholas Burlow go low on Bob Nestor to make that pass.
Uh-oh, and I see Andrew Layton coming down and getting hit in the face with that safer barrier on the inside wall. But it looks like he'll keep it down on the apron. Don't know what really happened with Andrew, and quite frankly, he's been holding in pretty tight all night, so that was a little uncharacteristic here at lap 136. We're going to lap 150 before we see the stage end here in that next competition caution.
As we're about 14 laps from seeing that come by, Nicholas Burlow closing the gap here. 2 car lengths separating him and Josh Ward for the lead. Josh Ward on the outside, Nicholas Burlow on the inside here, coming across the start-finish line. About a car length and a half, 2 car lengths into turn 1. Lap 137 we are working there, Dave.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, watching Burlow here work the low side of Josh Ward, he's going to be chewing up a little bit of tire, but with only 14 laps left in this stage, I guess he's decided to put his money all on himself and see if he can get around him and then block the heck out of Josh Ward. Going here into turn 3 and 4, back to the front stretch, as we're watching them side by side, door handle to door handle. Of course there are no door handles, but you get the idea. And this is just exciting to watch here. It doesn't seem like either one of them has a whole lot of edge, but Nicholas Burlow finally making that pass and sealing off P1, going yet again into turn 3. And now he is just going to sit there and cruise while Josh Ward just riding that top line. It's almost like he's trying to save a little bit here for the closing laps of stage 2.
Yeah, definitely looks like Nicholas Burlow pitted on lap 130 and got those fresher tires, and now he's not afraid to use them. Trying to get to P1 and get this, well, I would say points first stage, but just regular stage break with 11 laps till we get there.
Yeah, way to point out that he has 9-lap old tires versus Josh Ward's 35-lap old tires. So Josh Ward is at a statistical disadvantage here into turn 1 as he is trying everything he possibly can. Running high, trying to dive it in, drive off, and looks like Josh Ward's hanging in there for having 30-lap old tires.
I'll tell you what, I've raced against Josh Ward several times over the last year in SNN and on Monday nights and Tuesday nights from time to time. And Josh is one of those guys who he'll battle you. He'll give it to you, but if he doesn't have much left there, especially when he's up against fresh tires, you know, he's also smart enough to back off and try to regroup himself.
Yeah, you definitely have to be a little careful when you're on those older tires, as we've seen most of the night. You know, you just get it. They're a little slick, so you got to drive them a little bit softer. But looks like he's still able to keep pace with Nicholas Burlow for now.
Yeah, that draft is really helping him out here on straightaways.
Absolutely, and we see that he's babying that throttle as he's in turn 1 and 2 here. And we're going to see him ever so gently get back on the throttle going down the backstretch. Because, of course, as we've seen all night, there's several guys who just get it all wrong and get on that throttle a little too hard and they just get loose. Josh seems to have had that throttle control down to a science.
Yeah, he was leading this race and won pole for a reason. It's not just because of luck here and other drivers getting out. He's got speed, and he's on a different strategy here than Nicholas Burlow, but I think Josh Ward will get it done here, at least the top three, as long as nothing goes wrong. Chris Claude here fell back to fourth, lost one position actually. He was running in third. Bob Nestor has lost 4 positions here from the beginning of this green flag run, but William Fink rounds out your top 5.
Well, and as we see here with William Fink and Chris Claude, I mean, we're going to see these guys kind of settle in, and they're looking there and realizing that there's 7 laps to the end of the stage, and they're going to be happy just to finish near the front, go down and get some fresh tires, a little bit of pit road service, fill up on Sunoco race fuel, and get themselves settled in for this final stage that's coming up soon. And folks, we just want to thank you for tuning in tonight on ESPN, the Esports Broadcasting Network, as we're having yet another possible lead change. We'll go back to that. SDK decided it wanted me to look somewhere else, but I can't see us looking too far away from Josh Ward and Nicholas Burlow. As Ward was trying to get Burlow a run for his money, but just couldn't hold it down.
Yeah, with those older tires, Ward is getting that run on the straightaways off the back straightaway and front stretch. And as soon as we get to the apex and exit where tires really matter, Nicholas Burlow starts to pull away. So they're gaining on opposite ends of the track here. So I think it's going to even out until the stage, and they're going to stay right where they're at. As Nicholas Burlow into the wall, as I say that, Josh Ward has an opportunity to pounce.
Well, and we're going to look at that distance. What is that distance right now between Ward and Burlow, Mike?
Oh, it looks like it's anywhere between 0.4 of a second or so. I mean, so they're definitely close, but looks like he closes it in, and then once they get on that corner, looks like Burlow just has that drive, and then Josh Ward closes up again on the stretches and just can't keep close enough on the corners as he's moving to the outside line here.
No, we can see here from our ESPN chopper that Ward looks like he's trying to close in and get ready to make that pass yet again. And we're just going to keep a close eye on this. Right now, I think this battle for the lead is where it's at lap 148. Remember, we're going to lap 150, and at the conclusion of lap 150 would be the end of stage 2. As it looks like Ward is going to try to give Nicholas Burlow on those fresh tires a run for his money. Maybe try to take a little bit of air off of him and slow him down some.
Well, as he just barely touched that grass, but Burlow touched that outside wall, and ever since he touched that outside wall, Josh Ward has been closing in pretty steadily.
Yeah, 2 to go right here. Ward is going to be very aggressive as he gets jerky loose on turn 2. Loses every bit of momentum he picked up on that last lap. As we have a caution, Brian Tarnowski is turned around on the backstretch.
And we'll take a look here at what happened with Brian, who is out here supporting his wife and keeping it together as best as he can. And yet again, it seems like that turn 2 looseness just gets himself all kinds of loose. Of course, he's got no rear end, and he just buys himself a piece of real estate in that outside wall as he is trying to just get this race completed to support his wife. And his wife, of course, is Stacy Tarnowski, who we are racing for tonight. We are racing for a cause in the Racing for Stacy 350 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Stacy is at home battling cancer, and she's in good spirits from what Brian said. We talked to him earlier here in the booth. She was upstairs resting and trying to get some strength recharged in her. As Brian is here racing and supporting his wife, we're watching Josh Ward come down pit road. He's going to come get service. Let's see how many tires he gets, what he gets done here, as he's going to cede that P2 spot.
As that concludes your stage 2 break, as we will be going into stage 3. I appreciate y'all for having me. I've unfortunately got to go. Prayers and love to the Tarnowski family, and thank you everybody for letting me join the booth.
Yeah, thanks, Tanner.
Tanner, thank you very much. Appreciate you, and we'll see you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, Mike, we see Josh Ward here taking off again to go out and chase down Nicholas Burlow. What do you think we're going to see here in stage 3?
Oh, I think we're going to see some good hard racing still. I think we close that off with a lot of green flag runs. Looks like Nicholas Burlow is on the lead and stayed out and didn't get tires. And Josh Ward came in and got tires. So I imagine we're going to see a lot closer battle for that lead to start off with. But as we're doing that, I was checking in here on this PayPal link. And it looks like I want to challenge everybody. See if we can get them up over $500. I mean, it's $10. If somebody would go in there, hit that donate $10, get them over $500, it'd be awesome. I mean, I know every little bit helps, so see what we can do for them.
Every little bit does help, especially in times like these. I was talking to my wife earlier, and I said that, I mean, as much as sometimes I think we drive each other nuts, I could never imagine dealing with what Brian is dealing with in supporting Stacy, and I could never imagine what Stacy's dealing with as far as having to make the decisions that she's had to make over the last several months. And you can always feel the love in a relationship, and you can almost see it and empathize with them, because when one of us hurts, all of us hurt. And we know that Brian is absolutely in love with his wife and is out here supporting her for it.
Yeah, definitely. When I heard about what was going on, I couldn't help but, be drawn to help. I mean, granted, just calling a race, but it's so much more than that. But see all these guys out here drawn together for a good cause, and if anything happens in be it the iRacing community or anything like that, it's amazing how close. Yes, we're miles and miles apart, but how close we actually are, because we race with these guys every week. So you become more of a family.
And that's one of the things that I've always been drawn to with iRacing. About a year ago, maybe a little bit more, I was listening to the Dale Jr. download, and he was telling a story about, iRacing, which of course he's now one of the executive directors for. And he explained the community, and I kind of scratched it was before I joined iRacing. And I thought to myself, what do you mean it's a community? They're all strangers, just racing cars against one another. But as I've gotten involved with SNN and the Moonshiners Racing League and ESPN and SRM, of course, which I can't be more thankful for what James and Jonathan have done as far as giving me this opportunity to do something that I've always had a passion for in broadcasting. It's such a cool community. And Nicholas Burlow getting ready to take that green flag, and we're underway again here, and he is going to try to jump out to a lead, but Josh Ward listened to Lee Corso and said, "Not so fast, my friend. You're not going to get that far away," as he's going to chase him down with the number 93 of William Fink and that Ford Mustang, chasing both of them down. And Josh Ward's going to make the move to the inside here and see if he can't take away Nicholas Burlow's line going into turns 3 and 4, and he secures that top spot in P1 as William Fink brushes the wall a little bit, and that'll leave Burlow and Ward out front all alone again here on lap 155 at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we are racing for Stacy, and that is Stacy Tarnowski.
Yeah, as we saw there, like I said, Josh Ward came in and got tires, and Nicholas Burlow did not. So he was kind of a sitting duck a little bit because, with Josh Ward, if he had fresh tires, he was going to go. He's drawn out to over a second lead now. So fresh tires definitely made the difference there.
We see Barrett Coffee making a move on Fink now. And it appears like the 29 of Bob Nestor isn't going to be held off easily either by William Fink, as he is going to follow Barrett Coffee. And all in a row, it seems like from third through sixth is Barrett Coffee, Bob Nestor, William Fink, Chris Clodd, and Steve Dardaris in seventh.
Yeah, it looks like William Fink brushing that wall kind of slowed him down a little bit, as we see Bob Nestor look to the inside there of Barrett Coffee. Oh, William Fink got loose coming off of the corner again. He's able to save it, got back up on the track, and we're still racing green.
Fortunately, at this stage in the race, there's enough real estate that, God forbid, you get yourself loose like that. There's plenty of room to recover and keep this race green here at lap 158.
Yeah, let's log some green flag laps and get this to 225.
Well, in looking at this field, it seems like everybody is spread out far enough, with some spots of a half second. Right now, it looks like Josh Ward has opened himself up a lead of 4 seconds over Nicholas Burlow, and he is just out there running all alone, logging laps here, which is a good sign for him, but even better for James Riles, who is making that donation based on most laps led.
Yeah, speaking of donations, I just want to say that we were able to get above 500, thanks to everybody who donated.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We are extremely thankful. I know that the Tarnowskis are extremely thankful. So, just a shout out to the people who have been contributing. Bob Nestor, Brad Gunn, Brandon Benedict, Josh Anderson, Brad Gunn, Mike Damani, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Chris Cloud, Marianne Stafford, Nicholas Belo. Maybe I'm looking here at the list, and it looks like Nicholas Belo, maybe Burlow. So it could be a misspelling by iRacing and SDK. Barrett Coffee and Randy Spivey. And we thank every one of you for contributing and helping out Brian and Stacy Tarnowski through this absolute tough time of life. And we're taking a look here. Speaking of Nicholas Burlow, here running in fourth, as he's got all kinds of action around him between Bob Nestor and Chris Cloud, two teammate Toyota drivers, and they won't be held down very easily. And Bob Nestor's right on the heels of Barrett Coffee, who's running in second, but it's a distant second, as Josh Ward has opened up one heck of a lead.
Yeah, he's just running away. I mean, looks like, what, 7.5, almost 8 seconds now?
There's the 8-second mark.
Yeah, definitely have to go back and look at the battle for second there between Coffee, Nestor, and Burlow.
I'll tell you what, these guys and Bob and Barrett are absolute warriors out here. I love watching the two of these guys go at it. I mean, like I said earlier, they're both kind of like Jedi Masters. They've taken a couple of us under their wings. And, you know, in Barrett Coffee, here's a guy that he races what has to be 4 and 5 nights a week between the leagues that he runs and then NIS. I've seen him in there, you know, on Fridays or Saturdays, on the few times that I've got enough time to run those races. I mean, talk about logging laps. I don't know what his total laps on iRacing is, but it's got to be astronomical. As Bob Nestor making the move on the outside here, keeping Barrett Coffee low, and once you pin somebody down there, it's almost a walk in the park to go around them. What a pass from Nestor.
Definitely. You saw them trying to set it up earlier, going back and forth, trying to figure out what line he was going to take to make that pass. As we see Nicholas Burlow back there in fourth, looks like because he didn't get tires, it's kind of slowing him down a little bit. But Bob Nestor up 14 positions up into second, like you said earlier. You know, he'll hang around, and he's definitely a warrior. So see if they can work together, maybe get the draft going to come up with something for Josh Ward, because Josh Ward is gone. He's got 11 and a half.
He's got like and it's growing. He's just about at 12 seconds. And since they're both in the picture frame right now, I just want to say, so Barrett Coffey is the commissioner of the Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, which is part of the SNN family of racing. And Bob Nestor, not only is he the commissioner of the Monday Night Xfinity Series, but he's also the reigning Truck Series champion from 2021. So a couple of really good drivers battling it out here. And as they're getting closer to the next guy in line as far as lap cars go, I do want to talk about Brian Tarnowski quick. Brian Tarnowski is the husband of Stacy Tarnowski, and she is in her second battle with cancer. And he is from Waukesha, Wisconsin. They both are absolutely wonderful people. I've raced against Brian Tarnowski now for quite a while, and he's such a good guy out on the racetrack. You really can't say anything bad about him. I joked with him earlier that as long as I wasn't out on the racetrack, he was probably going to have a good, clean night, but it looks like that's not really the case right now for this number 5 Chevrolet. Can we even tell it? Oh, well, I guess by the nose you can see that it's a Chevrolet. With those pink wheels and racing for Stacy down his sides. And it looks like he is going to try to run as many laps as he can before that car, may overheat or something terrible. But all that being said, he is out here supporting his wife, and she is at home watching us. So Stacy, we appreciate you and we love you and we support you. We're praying for you, and thank you so much for sharing Brian with us. And Brian, thank you so much for sharing your courageous wife with us.
As we look back up here, Barrett Coffey and Nicholas Burlow. Nicholas Burlow looks low. Ooh, what happened to Bob Nestor? He was up in second when we left. It's like Barrett Coffey and Nicholas Burlow made the pass on him. Nicholas Burlow's up into second again as Bob Nestor drops to the inside. It's going to pass Barrett Coffey for third place.
Let's take a look back and see what happened when Barrett passed Bob. Gosh, you can't say that too fast. Looks like Bob's up here in the upper line, and he just got a little loose.
Got loose.
That same story with the exit of turn 2, and actually, that was one heck of a save. Bob and Barrett still going at it.
Yep. Bob makes that pass again on that low side.
172 of 225. We've got a heck of a green flag run here. Of course, I don't want to bring up that broadcaster's curse. It's kind of like talking about a no-hitter in the 5th inning. You just don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, let's hope Nicholas Burlow can figure out some way to close this gap on Josh Ward. He is checked out on the field. He's got probably half a lap lead, if not over half a lap lead.
I'll tell you what, at an 18.8 and growing, it's still growing. This is incredible. But at a nearly 19-second lead over the field, at an average lap time of somewhere in and around 30 and 31 seconds, he's almost going to start lapping the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars here. These guys right now are sitting here hoping for a late caution so they can get the field reset and have a chance to get near the front.
Yeah, we're at six cars on the lead lap. And if you look at the cars that are on the lead lap, Nicholas Berlow's up 22 positions, Bob Nestor's up 13, Barrett Coffey's up 7, Steve Dardaris is up 14, and Chris Claude is up 14. The only one that hasn't changed any positions is Josh Ward. He started on the pole and is driving away like almost 20 seconds now.
That's incredible. I guess when it comes to what's going on here with Nicholas Berlow, I guess he's decided that it's time to
tires.
Get those 4 Goodyear tires, fill that up with Sunoco race fuel, and finish this puppy out with about 50 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line. But of course, at the distance that Josh Ward is, he's about to get past and go a lap down, so now he's going to be praying for that late caution to come out.
Well, if they stay green, we're looking at probably the longest green flag run we've had. So Josh Ward last pitting on lap 150. I mean, if we can make it to 225, he might have to pit before that. And Nicholas Berlot pitted early. He knows he can make it to the end right now. So he might be playing a little bit of pit strategy there. As we see...
looks like Bradley Gunn has gone down onto the pits.
Yep.
Only 4 cars left on this lead lap.
Yep. Looks like Josh Ward was able to catch Chris Claude right there, and looks like he's working on catching Steve Dardaris, and pretty soon it's going to be Barrett Coffey's turn. The way he's running, I don't know that anything can really slow him down.
No, and there he is passing Brian Tarnowski and putting him down another lap as Brian is out here supporting his wife. It's just incredible to see his endurance, and we know that he's sticking by his wife just like he's sticking by this race and seeing it through. And that shows what kind of a person you are. Are you the kind of person that gives up on, if something tough comes your way, do you give up or do you stick it out? And obviously Brian is one that sticks it out no matter how tough it gets, no matter how beat up your car is when you cross that start-finish line. You're still there and you're still standing.
Definitely. I mean, some people would shut down and turn away and not let anybody in, but the view that Brian and Stacy have given everybody and how open they've been about what's been going on and the love that they've received in return for that is amazing. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation. I mean, nobody does. There's nothing you really can say to make that any better. But looking at this race, Brian's, because he stuck through it and he's turning laps, he's going to finish with the top 10. So, you stick through things, you'll get rewarded at some time.
Absolutely, and in a lot of these races on iRacing, it just seems like as long as you stick it out and you get to the end, no matter how banged up your car is, as we're watching the field come back through with Barrett Coffey and Bob Nestor, and Steve Dardaris and Chris Claude, as they're being chased down desperately by Josh Ward, who's looking to put them down. No matter how much you try to stay out of it, you'll at least get yourself a good finish out of the night. And of course, tonight we're here to support Brian and Stacy Tarnowski, so that's even more encouragement to take care of your brother.
Yeah, as we look at this race, I mean, Chris Claude got a little loose there coming off of turn 2. Was able to save it and get back up on the track. But you just look at this race and all the guys that came out. I mean, we had almost 40 cars or 30 cars out here, so it's amazing what happens when we all come together.
Well, and when they say it takes a village, it absolutely does, and quite frankly, it takes, my goodness, at this point, takes a community to support each other. And just as a quick update here, there are officially 2 cars left on the lead lap, and it's about to be 1 left on the lead lap.
I'll say, looks like there's about to be a couple seconds, and it'll be Josh all by himself.
It definitely looks like Josh has decided that this is his. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, I think we should give him a tip of the cap here. He has earned this tonight.
Definitely. He's went out and he must have heard that James was going to donate $1 for every lap led, and he's just putting them down. We'll have to see when this race is all over how many laps he actually led, but if he pretty much took over from lap 75 and has led almost all of them since. I mean, there's a few where he didn't, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Alex Murray had led the first stage of this race basically from... Oh, and here we are with a caution at lap 186. And it looks like Brian Tarnowski and Andrew Layton may have gotten themselves a little tangled up. Let's take a look.
And Barrett Coffee went, thank you.
And we see again that Brian Tarnowski just got loose coming out of turn 2, which has been his trouble spot all night. And this is almost identical to his earlier incident. And then, of course, just by sheer happenstance, collateral damage is Andrew Layton catching him. Andrew Layton not able to get slowed up enough to avoid the incident.
Yeah, it looked like Brian was trying to get it down for the apron.
Yeah, it did. And not only is Barrett Coffee happy, but Steve Dardera should also be happy, as he should be getting that lucky dog and coming around. And here we are with a late stage caution. And we'll see, maybe... I mean, at this point, there's no reason Josh Ward shouldn't come down and get himself some fresh tires and finish this race out strong as an ox.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, I'd imagine I'd see him come down. I mean, you about have to. I mean, with how long this last green flag was, I mean, if he doesn't, it's going to be, yeah. I think the only one that wouldn't come down would be maybe Steve Dardaris, because he's got that lucky dog, so he's going to have to go around once before he can go to pit road. But
well, it looks like Barrett Coffee's going to come in and get service, and I mean, it'd be pretty interesting to see this this final stage here end in a shootout between Barrett Coffee and Josh Ward. But I think after we see Josh Ward take off out of pit road, that we're going to see him get nice and comfy here, as Barrett Coffee is still getting service on the pits. We'll see what's going on with him, as Steve Dardaris is now in second, Barrett Coffee in third, Chris Cloud in fourth, and Nicholas Berlow in fifth for your top 5. And not only is it the top 5, but that's also the lead lap cars, all of them. And there goes Barrett Coffee off of pit road.
I'd imagine you see Chris Cloud and Nicholas Berlow stay out. And they'll take their wave around and get back on the lead lap. So we'll be left with 5 cars on the lead lap here. So, nope, looks like Chris Cloud decided to go to pits. So maybe Nicholas
I have to say, if I was
Berlow.
Yeah. I'd have to say, if I was in Chris Cloud's shoes, I'd probably come down and pit, because I'm one of those people when I'm racing that I'll get those shoes on just to keep myself safe, because I don't want to ruin anybody's night that's near me, especially if they're faster than me and more competitive than me.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that, but yeah, it looks like Nicholas Berlow is definitely going to stay out. He last pitted on 174, so I would assume that he's going to stay out, take that wave around, and we'll be left with a few cars left on the lead lap then.
And we see those 4 lead lap cars lined up behind the pace car. That iRacing.com Ford Mustang takes him into turn 4. And this time by, he should be turning his lights off and we should be getting ready to go back racing to green here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And the Racing for Stacy 350, as we are racing for Stacy Tarnowski, who is in the battle of her life, dealing with cancer for the second time. She was declared cancer-free 3 years ago, and back in December, Brian had shared with us on Discord that she was experiencing some back pain, so they went for the scans and things that they do there at the hospital in the oncology department, and they had gotten the news that every couple would dread, and that's that her cancer has returned. So she is at home battling and fighting it out. And we know that she's there watching us, and I hope she's staying up late, keeping an eye on her husband, who's out here trying to finish out this race, as he's still down in the pits in the 55 Chevrolet in 9th. Brian Tarnowski. Everybody has really painted their cars nice tonight, and has really come out in full support of Stacy, just to show that solidarity that the MNN family of racing has always brought ever since I've gotten to know them over the last year. And what a family, what a group of guys here, and some of them, we may never meet. Some of us, we see each other every day, or periodically, maybe once a year at a racetrack or some other event. So to be basically physical strangers, it's wonderful to know that we stick together as we are under green here at lap 190 of 225, and Barrett Coffey putting the move on Chris Cloud, who's going to stay low, and who probably just got on the radio and said, "Go ahead, Barrett, go high, I'll stay low." And 2 out of the 3 league commissioners in second and 5th now, as Chris Cloud is still a lap down.
As you see there, Nicholas Berlow go down to the inside to make that pass to get up in 3rd place, and we'll see what he has left for the 15 of Josh Ward, because nobody else seems to have been able to come close to him.
No, I agree. And fans, right now, we are going to turn it up and take ourselves a break, get a little bit of water for ourselves, hit the pits, and you guys just enjoy the sounds, and we'll see you back in a few moments. And we're clear. Dude, my God. 20 seconds. I've never seen something so crazy at this place. 31, yeah. Look, I've seen Josh Ward run races like that, and he's fucking ridiculous. And we are back as our race leader, Josh Ward, just bit the wall back there a little bit. That was kind of interesting if you look at it here from this perspective. I guess he's out here running alone so long that he wanted a little bit of company. And we see him go here into turn 3 and just get a little tight and rub the wall. Uncharacteristic of Josh. As he gets himself recovered and he'll get us all reset here, of course. He's not going to lose the lead, that's for darn sure. As we saw him with almost a full lap lead on the rest of the field right before the previous caution. Mike, what do you think here with 22 to go?
Well, it looks like everybody's on the lead laps headed to pit road almost. So I definitely think we'll stack them up again and everybody be on the same level here, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Josh has just dominated this race lately. We'll have to see if Barrett Coffey or Nicholas Berlow or even Steve Dardaris has anything left for him. But at the point that we were watching earlier, I mean, it's only like Josh can beat himself. So we'll see if we can get these last 21 laps be real competitive and, see what happens.
Yeah, Josh getting 4 tire service here is going to get beaten off a pit road by Steve Dardaris and Barrett Coffey, I guess, while he's getting that little bit of damage repaired. Not really much to worry about as far as getting yourself repaired here. The track is just big enough that you can get a substantial amount done before you've got to go back to racing. So, that being said, we have a new leader tonight in Chris Claude. We'll see if he comes down. I don't think he will. But the Fairview, Tennessee native driving the number 10 Dasani Toyota, painted pink and blue tonight in support of Stacy Tarnowski. Stacy being who we're racing for tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The wife of the 55 car Chevrolet of Brian Tarnowski. She is at home right now battling cancer, and we are here to support and love on her and share as much as we can with her of ourselves and of our time. And of course, please find it possible to hit that PayPal link and donate to this cause. And if you don't use PayPal and you prefer Venmo, feel free to use the Venmo payment portal for @Robert-Nestor-1. That's @Robert-Nestor-1 on Venmo too, as well as the PayPal link. That'll bring up Steve Dardaris, who's going to lead the field down here. It was definitely Josh Ward's race right up until he rubbed the wall.
Yeah, but the way he's been running, I think it still might be his race. I mean, we'll see what happens when he has a little bit of traffic, but he seems to be able to work his way through it pretty well. But it looks like Bob Nestor's probably going to take the wave around here, so we'll be left with Steve Dardaris and Barrett Coffey on that front row, with Josh Ward and Nicholas Berlow in row 2.
And on the inside of row 3 is the fifth position car of Chris Claude on the number 10 Toyota. He's the last car right up until Bob Nestor gets himself all the way around as the wave around. We will have 6 cars on the lead lap when we go back green as the pace car lights are off. And we'll have 18 to go when they cross the start-finish line for this final little leg here. It's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be alongside of you tonight, Mike, as we've not worked together before, but I feel like this is a lot of fun for myself. I hope it is for you as well.
It definitely is. I mean, we've seen a lot of good racing and good commentary and, doing it all for a good cause, as we see, our 4 cars here, 2 by 2, and see if we can finish this out with some real competitive racing.
Yeah, we started the night with 29 cars in the field, and then there were 5. Then there were 6, I lie, on the lead lap. Here is Steve Dardaris is going to bring us down. The man in the stand has that green flag in his hand one more time as Barrett Coffey crosses the start-finish line first and gets ahead of everybody. He's got one heck of a jump here. And one of the things Barrett's good at is making that car as wide as the racetrack is and keeping everybody else behind him. As he is going to, it's almost like he can make those rear fenders fan out and keep everybody else behind.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Steve Dardaris just didn't miss the shift or something because he got left behind by the cars behind him. And as we see here, Josh Ward and Nicholas Berlot battling it out again. This has to be something that Barrett Coffey wants to see. You know, get those guys battling behind you too wide and trying to fight each other off. You can maybe sneak away a little bit.
Sneaking away doesn't seem like it's working out for Barrett Coffey as Berlot gets real close to that inside quarter panel. And it opens the door for Josh Ward to get around him. And now we're going to see Josh Ward chase down Barrett Coffey going into turns 1 and 2. Josh Ward, taking those fresh tires at the last pit stop, is going to have his hands pretty full here with Barrett Coffey leading the pack.
I just see Nicholas Berlot get a little loose there. But we have these same three cars have been running up front for the last 100 laps or so with 15 left to go.
And we've had basically two leaders this whole race right up until just now. We've had Josh Ward and Alex. I just forgot his last name.
Alex Murray led most of stage
There
one,
we
and
go,
then
Alex Murray
was involved in a little bit of a brush up there, and on lap 79.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for picking that one up for me. But yeah, Alex Murray led basically all of stage 1, and Josh Ward has commanded basically stage 2 and stage 3 as he's making the move here on Barrett Coffey. They're going through the inside of turns 1 and 2, and Barrett Coffey says, "No, that's mine. You can't have it."
Yeah, it looks like Barrett Coffey's running that high line, and he gets a better run off the corner. And when Josh Ward drops down to the inside, he gets a little bit better run on. So it should even out. But as we've seen Josh Ward just run away from everybody, if he can get by Alex Murray, or Barrett Coffey, sorry about that. If he can get by Barrett Coffey, he might check out again.
You'll have to forgive us, folks. This race has been going on since about 9:10 Eastern, and it's now 12:05 here on the East Coast where Mike and I are, and sometimes it can get a little confusing out here.
But like we said, it's all for a good cause, and Josh Ward jumps to the inside of Barrett Coffey. See if he can make that pass on this corner here. Not quite enough momentum coming off the corner.
No, and our partner Tanner had mentioned in pre-race that turn 2 and 4, the exits on both of those are going to be really treacherous for these drivers, and Barrett is not going to give up first place very easily here as Josh Ward and him are trading P1 back and forth like a baseball card almost. Here it's yours, here it's mine. Nope.
Back and
I'll
forth.
tell you what, if we can watch this for the next 11 laps, that'd be exciting.
Well, when there's only 5 cars out here, 6 cars running, it definitely needs some action coming. Side by side again.
Looking here from the right front fender of Josh Ward, he just barely burps the throttle, and he thinks he's going to get Coffey this time, and Coffey gets a good run off of the turn 2 exit. He definitely has the number of that exit. And now we see Ward again trailing him just ever so gently as we look here from Josh Ward's bumper.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Ward gets a good run going into 1, but Coffey stays high and gets a better run coming off. Looks like Josh had to slow down just a little bit there as he was going to get into the back of Coffee. But here we go. Ward on the inside, Coffee on the outside. Side by side, still can't clear.
Now, Barrett Coffee is one tough racer, especially here in this number 4 Enville Insurance and 10 Floor Racing Ford. And Josh Ward is literally nose to nose. I mean, we're looking right here from Josh Ward's nose, and there is almost no room to get by. But Josh Ward manages to pull it off, and Barrett Coffee says,
Coffee comes right back.
I'm not done yet. Man, folks, if you're just tuning in now, you're watching what has to be the best race of the night within the race. Here as we are racing for Stacy Tarnowski. This is the Racing for Stacy 350 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Regal alongside Mike Damani, and sorry about that. And we are here on ESPN and SRM, broadcast on YouTube and Facebook Live. We are grateful enough to be here to bring you the support for Stacy Tarnowski as Barrett Coffee throwing the block on Josh Ward and running down the front stretch. He knows that Josh Ward thinks he's got him, and Barrett's going to stay high here and tempt Josh Ward one more time, and I think it's about soon time for Barrett Coffee just to take that line away from Josh Ward if he thinks he's going to run away with it. Anyway, Stacy Tarnowski is the wife of the driver of the number 55 Chevrolet, Brian Tarnowski, our friend and brother here on the racetrack. Brian runs in the SNN family of racing on iRacing.com in Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. And his wife Stacy is at home battling cancer, and we are here to raise support and awareness for the terrible thing that is cancer. Tonight there is a PayPal link available in our YouTube live feed as well as Facebook Live. They're on SRM and ESPN. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe, the like button on Facebook or the subscribe button on YouTube. Turn on those bell notifications. Whoa, Barrett Coffee getting loose here, going down to the apron. That'll cost him, as Josh Ward's going to get ready to run away from him.
Yeah, as Josh Ward just is going to run away again. We saw earlier where he had almost lapped the entire field. There was one lap, one car on the lead lap, which happened to be Barrett Coffee, and he was just closing in on him when the caution came out last time. But we're down to 3 laps to go. Josh Ward has dominated most of this second and third stages of this race after early domination by Alex Murray until Murray got involved in a little dust up. But as you said, we're here for a good cause, and looks like everybody's having some fun. I mean, I know they all wished it was a little bit less of a caution fest early, but these last few runs have been fairly green flagged. So as we close in here, I just want to say thank you for, Dave posting this out there. Thanks for Bob Nestor for putting it on, and prayers and everything for Stacy and Brian.
Yes, our thoughts and prayers truly are with Stacy Tarnowski tonight and with Brian Tarnowski, the driver of the number 55 Chevrolet. We know that you guys are both going through a whole lot together, and we just want to let you know that you're not going through it alone. The SNN family of racing is right there alongside of you. ESPN has stepped up, as Josh Ward is going to bring this all the way home through turn 4. He's only got a little bit left, a couple hundred yards to the start-finish line, and Josh Ward is going to win the Racing for Stacy 350 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And your top 5 are all on the lead lap, and the only cars on the lead lap at this point is Josh Ward In P1, Barrett Coffey in P2, Nicholas Burlow in third, Steve Dardaris in fourth, and Chris Cloud in the number 10 Toyota, bringing up that final top 5 spot. Mike, I'll tell you what, Josh Ward has dominated the last 2/3 of this race tonight, and it's been exciting to watch.
He definitely has. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen it where a driver drives away from a field. I mean, he literally almost lapped the entire field. But that being said, we were a little touch and go early with how many cautions we had, but we were able to get this.
You might have to wake the broadcast team up.
And if you're watching now, go ahead and hit that like, share, hit that PayPal link, donate what your heart feels. We ran 225 laps for a good cause. Everybody came together, started off with 29 cars, ended with 5 on the lead lap, and domination by Josh Ward late.
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, I would really like to find out what setup you were using, because you were dialed in all night.
I made it over the course like 4 hours before this race, using the baseline iRacing one.
Man, you dominated 2/3 of this race. You've led more laps than anybody could shake a stick at this point. What else was going right for you? We saw that you only really had one little gaff there where you rubbed the wall. What was all that about?
I was watching the broadcast, and I was about falling asleep watching the broadcast and racing at the same time. So, yeah, it was a little mistake because I was distracted.
Well, the broadcast has been something pretty exciting for Mike and I, and Tanner up until he had to finally hang up his microphone for the night. He had to go to work in the morning. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out tonight to?
I'd like to remind everybody what we're racing for, Mrs. Stacy. I hope everything works out the way it's meant to for them.
Well, man, you definitely put on a great show, and Stacy Tarnowski, I'm sure, enjoyed every lap of it. And I know that Brian was hanging in there as tight as he could for most of the race. So, Josh, congratulations on your win, and we're going to put you back in your race chat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Barrett, it's Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Man, that was a fantastic, last 12 laps. You guys were door handle to door handle if you had any.
We were trying, bud. We're trying to wake y'all up, put on a show.
Oh, we were awake. We're here delirious with caffeine and water.
Yeah,
you
that
guys
was
put on a
great,
great
man.
show.
Josh kept his car clean all night. I got caught up in one of those early wrecks, and man, it really took it out of it and really threw off the handling. I was really surprised how loose it got with that damage. Normally you get that type of damage, it tightens it up. So we're all still learning with this package, but I just want to give a shout out to Brian. I think it's amazing how many guys showed up tonight to support him and Stacy. Have just loved getting to know him more over the last year or so because of iRacing. It's always amazing to me how friendships really do form on this simulator. And, could not be a better cause to come out tonight. Appreciate everybody who made a donation and supported it. And I was really surprised how many people in the league spent a ton of time just going out and practicing for this race. iRacing changed the car 2 weeks ago, so there's no setups for anything. Brian messaged me earlier in the week, was like, all right, you got a setup? And I was like, no, you picked the track that has nothing. But, man, a lot of guys threw up some hosted sessions, went out and just,
really wanted to prepare for this, really wanted to put on a good show. So just shout out to everybody who was involved, and just, we'll keep our prayers with Brian and Stacy for sure.
No, and a tip of the cap to you, I also saw some guys from the Moonshiners League, and your whole team showed up. I mean, this was absolutely a family affair tonight when it comes to the iRacing.com family. And I was really glad to see some of the guys from Moonshiners that I know that you had to have had a hand in bringing over tonight.
Yeah, some of them were doing some of them definitely send their well wishes. They had another recruitment race scheduled for their upcoming season, so there's a few more definitely were here in spirit, even though they weren't here on the track. But Barry and Chad and all those guys definitely send their love. But yeah, no, it's just awesome. I appreciate Bob for hosting it and you guys for putting on the show. But like I said, it's awesome to do with Brian. Him and Stacy have really seriously weighed heavy on my heart lately. Because I can't even imagine what they're going through. But it's just hopefully we can provide him a little outlet and do something to help them out, and really puts in perspective why we're all here and why we do this. And it's fun to come out and just do something exhibition and for fun, but yet for a good cause.
Absolutely, brother. Well said. Listen, we appreciate you. I'm going to put you back for your race chat. And Mike, I believe you have Nicholas Burlow coming in.
Yeah. Hey, Nicholas, it's Mike up in the booth. You got me?
Nicholas, you're muted if you can hear us. Well, unfortunately, it looks like Nicholas Burlow can't be heard. So I'm going to pull in Bob Nestor and talk to him since he did organize all of this.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, it's Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
All right, what's up, man? How was that race for you?
Oh, it was horrible. I was running good and making adjustments. For some reason, the car was loose on exit the entire race, and then I got a speeding in the pits, and they gave me a 1:10 penalty.
Oh man, well that's pretty rough. But listen, Mike and I both have been talking all night about the support that you have gotten together for Brian and Stacy, and what you've pulled together here tonight is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Listen, over SNN family of leagues, we all treat each other like family. So, we wanted to do everything we could for Brian, and we can't imagine what he's going through. We respect Stacy's decision for what she's deciding to do with her life, and we're just going to be there for them as much as we can throughout this whole process.
Yeah, man, it's rough. Mike, what was the final tally that you had looked at earlier? Were we close to 500 on PayPal?
Yeah, we got 500 on PayPal. As soon as I said anything about, hey, let's get to 500, it happened like instantly. So
yeah, I couldn't imagine. I'm just happy that all these guys came out to support him, and wish it could have been a little bit of a better race. It got exciting there at the end, but I'm sure there was action everywhere for you guys, so you weren't bored.
yeah, I mean, watching Josh almost lap the entire field was something new.
Yeah, I don't know what setup he had, but I wish he would have shared it with me.
But
it was
yeah,
a
that
homemade setup from what he told us.
Yeah, he said he just tweaked it from the iRacing one. But
Wow.
that $500 doesn't even include all the dollar for every lap led, and Josh led a lot of them. So James is gonna be donating quite a bit there.
Yeah, and if anybody, I'm going to keep the fundraiser open for, and I think it expires in 3 days. If anybody watching the broadcast, or if you know anybody that would like to help out, feel free to donate. It's going to a great cause, and help out their family. And I can't imagine how much medical expenses and cost of living and everything is costing them right now. So any little bit will help. Yeah, there's an awesome group of guys. And lastly, if Stacy, you're still watching, I know it's kind of late. You might not be watching anymore, but we're all praying for you. I hope you pull through this, and this here tonight was all for you and in support of you and your husband. So I wish you the best with everything.
And Stacy, we echo that as the broadcast team. Bob, thank you very much. We'll get you out of here. And Mike, do you want to try to dial up Nicholas Burlow again?
All right, I'll see you guys.
Hey, Nicholas, Mike up here in the booth. You got a copy? Hey, you there, Nicholas?
I'll tell you what, partner. Although we can't get a hold of Nicholas, he's having some audio difficulties. This race, as long as it's been, has been quite an interesting competition. Your winner, of course, is Josh Ward. Here's your top 10. Josh Ward was P1, took home the checkered flag, and we're sure that he's going to give that to Stacy Tarnowski. Barrett Coffey finished in second. Nicholas Burlow in third. Steve Dardaris in fourth. Chris Cloud in the number 10 Toyota in fifth. Bob Nestor in the number 29 Toyota in sixth. Andrew Layton in seventh. William Fink in eighth. Brian Tarnowski in the number 55 Chevrolet, husband of Stacy Tarnowski, who we are here for tonight, finished in ninth. And Randy Spivey rounds out the top 10 in the number 22 Ford. So that's Ward, Coffey, Burlow, Dardaris, Cloud, Nestor, Layton, Fink, Tarnowski, and Spivey as your top 10.
Definitely, as you can see, we only were left with 4 cars on the lead lap, but definitely when it came to the end of the race, that side-by-side racing definitely drove it together.
Absolutely. Listen, Mike, it's been an absolute privilege to be here alongside of you tonight, and I can't thank you enough for sticking with us here, as it's just about 12:30 on the East Coast. And I want to thank ESBN and SRM and James Riles and Jonathan for everything that they've done and for everything that they've contributed tonight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Racing for Stacy 350, because we wouldn't be on the air if it wasn't for them. And I appreciate the opportunity that they've given us to be here for a good cause. So thank you again, and understand that life is brief, but there is always something good, and we can find that good every day if we look hard enough. And we thank